Hot mic. Here we are.
If you hear my phone ringing, that's just a bill collector. We'll ignore
Okay,
them.
so we ignore it. Exactly. Yeah, as you always do.
Ooh, all right. What kind of coffee are we drinking here?
It is the Costco Colombian, 100% Colombian.
Oh shit, dude.
Yeah, and then you opted for some half and half.
Yes. Yeah.
So we got you some half and half. I'm drinking it straight black.
Yeah, you are. Damn. Man, what a man, what a man.
You get more flavor out of it, I feel. Especially because I do tap into my basic white man stuff, and I'll have pumpkin spice when it's the season.
I love pumpkin spice.
Yeah, so the problem, because I started drinking coffee when I was 16.
Oh, that's what happened.
Well,
that explains
that's part
a lot.
of it. Does explain a lot, right? No, but and just being a kid who's Irish, I was like, oh, let me put Irish cream in this pumpkin spice coffee, and that's not a good combination. So I was like, oh, I don't like pumpkin spice for the longest time, and then I started drinking it black when I started paying attention more to health and whatnot, and I'm like, it's just everything tastes so much better when it's just straight black coffee. So that or hazelnut, I'm a sucker for a hazelnut coffee because you just don't have to mix anything into it. It
hazelnut's a little bit more subtle, right?
Compared to pumpkin spice, yeah. Yes, compared to pumpkin spice, it is. Yeah.
Pumpkin spice. What is that? That should be on the table of contents. It should be another freaking mineral or a gas. No, it's a liquid.
It should be on the periodic table of elements. I agree. Just pumpkin spice, whatever. I know it's made up of multiple things. I think it's cinnamon and nutmeg, and that's the
true.
balance. Yeah,
that's true. And I love cinnamon. I guess that's what it is. Welcome to Cinnamon Talk with
Cinnamon Talk. Yes,
Patrick Bean.
Oh yes, thank you,
Patrick Coffee Bean.
Yes, that's 100%. There was sidebar. There was friends of mine from New Jersey. They wanted to do a show where they were failed entrepreneurs. Yeah. And then eventually they go, oh, we're going to open our own coffee shop. And I was going to play this over-the-top fictionalized version of myself who had escaped to Colombia and knew how to grow the best coffee bean in the world. And the cartel's after me. Over coffee, not cocaine, but coffee. I was going to be just always in a straw hat with a samurai sword. Yeah. I was going to be that out there dude. I would pick my toes with the samurai sword. That just batshit crazy guy.
Nice.
We never got to make it, but maybe one
we
day.
need to do it. We need to do it. And it speaks to volume to coffee, which is probably the most consumed drug, in the world. It's probably more, it is more lucrative than cocaine.
Yeah, it's legal. You can go to the store and buy it. There's no cocaine aisle at Fry's. Be great if there was. It might be the Coca-Cola aisle.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Sponsored by Coke. Yeah. Thank you. But no, coffee's 100%. That is my drug. I don't do anything. I don't even smoke weed. I don't really none of it. I'm just a coffee guy.
Is there another way to mainline it? A harder way to take in caffeine than just taking it black?
I don't know. Unless you slam an energy drink, because an energy drink is is equivalent of 4 cups of coffee.
Gotcha.
That's the only. So you're probably just ingesting that much more that faster. But that's the strongest way I'm aware of.
And a cup of coffee is a shot of espresso.
I believe so.
Where's the?
I think so.
Weights and measures here.
Yes, I think that is what it balances out to.
Yeah.
I don't know why this thinks of it, but so when you took driver's ed when you were 16, did they go over the whole one beer is equal to 1 shot of liquor is equal to 1 glass of wine?
Not when I was taking my driver's license, but I'm also from the country, so it was just given that you were drinking.
Fair. They're as long as you're below 0.08, the sheriff won't have to escort you home. I don't know. No, in my driver's ed, I don't know why I thought of this. In driver's ed, they actually tested you on the equivalent.
Yeah.
And I'm this has nothing to do with driving.
Yeah.
What are we? I'm this is for the judge to tell me where I screwed up. I don't need this math equation now.
Yeah.
I
don't know. Maybe they're catching you early, so they're hey, we know you're gonna do this. That is a smart way to go about it. We know you're going to do this. So here's what you would want to wait.
Yeah, exactly. If you do 1 beer and 1 shot, you should be okay. That's 2 drinks. It's fine. That's the worst coaching.
Unless you're driving a stick shift and then you got to cut it in half.
Yeah, exactly. Because you need that extra bit of coordination. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but now there's Waymo and all these autonomous vehicles.
I can't trust. I see a Waymo go by. I'm this is where the human race dies. This is where we go. It's not even the whole oh, they're taking jobs away from the Uber and the Lyft guys and taxi guys. I'm this is where it starts. This is the alternate opening to Terminator.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. you can see that in a bunch of different avenues these days. You know, Chat GPT, CRISPR. AI, man, it's a tool. Have you used AI for any of your writing?
I have not.
No.
I know some people talk about like, oh, it just helps with prompts or whatever. I don't know. I think I'm a little too purist. I'm like, I just want it to come from inside and just whatever my mind goes. I'm open to the idea of playing with it for like a writing exercise for like brainstorming, maybe, and then everything that comes from that topic comes from me. But yeah, have you tried it?
No. Because a part of me is going to be like, oh, okay, well, this is totally easier. I'm just going to do this. And then it's like, then I'm a slave to like that prompt versus like, like we're talking about coming up with it more organically.
Yeah. And then it's going to be like, you're going to feel like the rock band that's like, I can't get sober else I won't write good music anymore. Except it's not a drug, it's Chat GPT.
Dude, there's a part of that, like, with my writing, I get home and I'm just like, oh, I need to light up. You know, because then the funny's going to come to me a little bit easier because now I'm like going to open to more silliness or just like an avenue that my brain wouldn't normally go down on.
Yeah.
You know what, dude? I'm actually, to switch gears here.
Yeah, go for it.
How do you feel about morning sex?
I mean, not with you, but sure. Like it's like 10:30 in the morning. That's a weird prompt. I guess.
Okay. How do you perform in more? Okay, so here's the reason I bring it up.
Okay, yeah, a hard pivot, but
I cannot orgasm in the morning.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know what it is.
Interesting. All right.
I don't know. And in my mind, evolutionarily, we wake up with an erection,
right?
Because that day we probably like during the day we have to go hunt our food, right? I might not make it back. So evolutionarily, Mother Nature's like, here's a hard on,
right?
Go use it to spread your seed because you might not make it back at night.
I've never thought of that.
You know, to have the act.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, so that's in my mind. I was like, okay, that's why there's morning wood, right?
Makes perfect sense. By the way, I've never heard that. Makes sense. Yeah, I love it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
for my reasoning, man. That's such a my ego. All right, but then I can't orgasm, and I don't know what it is. Like it's just like the nerves or whatever. Just it won't allow me. Like 9 times out of 10, I won't.
Yeah.
And then our view of sex is so not twisted, but like that's the end goal, where we forget that we're just sharing this experience,
right.
But if my partner doesn't make me orgasm, then they're like, oh, well, what did I do wrong with this? And I'm like, no, it's just the way I am for whatever reason.
Right.
Until
we
talked about I was in Vegas.
Yes.
Morning sex with Vacation Juan.
Yeah.
I always finish. And you know what? I'm like, I'm on vacation, so there's no there's nothing pressure. I'm just hanging out, this and that. But in the daily life, I'm thinking about job. I'm thinking about the comedy. I'm thinking about the kids. I'm thinking about all this shit that I need to get going. And instead of having an intimate moment with my partner,
being in the moment, right?
My mind is like, there's all this shit I got to do. So I guess maybe a part of me is like, that's my blockage because on vacation it was great.
I mean, it could be. My original theory was going to be: are you worried about like morning breath, or do you have like sleep in your eye and it's like half open? Like that would be my insecurity. Is like you're gonna because I live on coffee, like we were talking about. So like I feel like I almost just have constant coffee breath unless I'm freshly brushed or mouthwash everything.
Yeah.
So that would be my insecurity, but that makes sense. Yeah, you're just on vacation. You're just relaxed. You're more present because you're like, oh, we don't have anything to do for 3 hours. You know what I mean? Whereas, everyday life, it's like, oh, I got to get up. I got to take care of the kids. I got to do this. I got to go put gas in the car and grocery shop, whatever. Like vacation is just like,
if you do it right, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Because there's just some people that are just like, when you have an itinerary or we're so locked in the, we need to be having fun. We need to be relaxed. We need to be this. And if you're still
need to
not,
relax.
Yeah. You're
relax already. It's
guilty.
Like, it doesn't work. That's what we all are, though. We all tell each other, like, let's relax. That's fine. And like, we'll go to those moments. But then as soon as somebody like leaves the yoga class, right now, somebody cuts them off in traffic and they're just like, God damn it. Like it just immediately 180s. And now you need to go back to yoga. Yeah. But no, everyday life, we're way too tight and stressed. So I think to your point in the example of like morning sex, it's like vacation, it works. Because it's just, you're just relaxed. It's whatever. Man. It doesn't even, like, you're not even like a tropical paradise. You're in Vegas, which I think is fun. I enjoy
concrete
Vegas.
Paradise.
You're in a concrete jungle neon light paradise.
Utopia.
Just pulling the slot machines. Everything's great. Yeah. But no, but it's just like you said, it's the vacation. It's less stress. It's just, you can relax. It's you and your lady. Good time. Yeah.
Yeah. I just had that epiphany this last time where I was just like, okay, this isn't going to happen. And I'm like, wait, hold up.
Wait, hang on.
Hey, what's going on
We're
here?
here. Yeah.
I'm like, I wonder why. Like, I can't just ever just accept it. I'm always just like, why?
Yeah. I feel like everyone kind of gets that. Like, just a vacation is just, everything is better on a vacation. Like, I was having this conversation with someone recently where like, when like new couples just go on vacation, that's like, it's everyone's happy on a vacation. It's when it comes down to like figuring out compatibility and stuff like that. That's when it's like, okay, what do we do on a rainy day when we're both like stuck in the house together? That's when you find out if a couple can last. Anyone can go to a Vegas or a Cancun or wherever and have a blast and be magically in love. And then it's like when you're sitting there waiting for the other person to take the garbage out, that's the real test of a relationship.
Exactly. Dude, I had this thought the other day where it was like, what if I kind of fabricated certain scenarios that would test. Oh, what's going on here?
Oh, I just saw something pop up on your laptop. Are we good? Yeah, go check that.
Yeah, I should have let that run a little bit before we started.
Ah, no, we're good. We're good.
All the wake up stuff it needs to do. It's like your computer's like, we haven't run an antivirus check and and we need to update Steam, and which I like never use.
It's just taking up RAM for no reason.
But talking about that, right, is like that quote from MLK, right, where it's don't judge a man's character by how he behaves in times of comfort. You know, see how he does when he's actually under stress.
Oh, yeah.
To paraphrase.
Yeah. No, that's 100% correct. I think when somebody's really stressed, that's when you see the true side, good, bad, and different.
So like a part of me is like, we know it's almost like sneaky and just like, ooh, but it's like fabricating certain, you know, mishaps and scenarios that kind of like show you what the person is capable of or where they would stand. Because also you're going to be better for it. Like, how many friendships start where it's like, oh, I fucking hated you the first time I met you, or, you know, you got on my nerves or this and that. And then you realize that if you're able to work through that, you know, the headbutting, that you guys are stronger for it. Yeah. Anytime you confront somebody, you're going to be better for it. And the relationship will get stronger as long as you guys are both trying, you know, if that's the goal. I mean, you know, obviously there's other altercations and whatnot, but you know, how guilty should I feel about fabricating certain scenarios like that?
Right. Well, I mean, fabricating it, yes, maybe.
And I haven't done it yet. I'm just saying, this is a thought experience. That's all it is.
Yeah. Yeah. No, well, I think, but to your point, I know some of my best friends, like immediately I could not stand them. Like, I don't know if I've ever told you this story, buddy. So like, I apologize in advance, but my one friend, he's an improviser in Chicago. Yeah. His name's Steve Grande. And the same semester I transferred to Rowan University, he decided he was going to start like the on-campus sketch improv club. Nice. And so I showed up and I had done some improv. I was mainly a stand-up comic at the time, right? And I was like, there was something where I was like, I don't know if I like this guy. I don't know if I'm going to get along with him. I have to work with him because it's his idea and this is his club. But like, and then like, there was never a moment of like, hey man, it bothered, like we just figured it out and gelled. And then he became one of my best friends. Yeah. But it's to your point. So like, there was never that like, what the hell? Like, it was just like, oh, you do things that way? That's cool. I do it this way. And then like, you just figure it out and you blend. Yeah. But yeah, and that's just the first example that comes to my mind where like, yeah, at first I was like, I don't know if I'm going to get along with this guy. And then the next thing you know, it's like, oh, this is my best friend that we roomed in college and we ran the club, like everything. That's great. Cool. Yeah.
Cause you guys were just viewing it through my lens. You guys just, held your pride, your ego, or you know, you checked that at the door because you guys were there for the funny. You guys were there for the improv, the business side of it. So it's like, let's find out how we can mesh, because you know, however we feel about this is secondary to the more grand scheme of things. Right. To make it work. You know. Yeah. And instead of making it work my way.
Right. And that was the thing, is we both came from those two different places. Like, he had done some stand-up and he was good in that as well, but he was more of a sketch improv guy. I had done some sketch improv. I was more of a stand-up guy. So then when we combined, we were just able to find that rhythm and collaborate of like, oh, I like how you do that way. That'll mix really well with my way of that. And like, and then we just found our own way, and then other people joined in the mix, and it was great.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it was also we both had the long-term goals of performing.
Yeah.
So that helped as well. Because like everyone else was like maybe on the fence, or some people wanted to do dramatic acting, or this person wanted to do that and stuff. And we were both like, no, we want to do comedy. Like this is just what we want to do.
Such a mix in there. Because, you know, I was mentioning, I come from the music world, and that's very like, you know, genre specific, you know, in your lane. Like if you go to a show, all the bands are going to be in the same vein.
Yeah.
Whereas if you go to a comedy show or you go to an improv place, there's so many styles coming together that, you know, it's the true melting pot in that sense of performance art. You know, you get people that are going to do poetry. You get people that are going to do the physical comedy, raunchy, clean. There's so many different avenues with it.
Yeah. And that's what makes it so great.
Yes.
Is just you don't know what's coming. Like you have your theme shows of like, this is the dirty show, this is the clean show, and this is, you know, this is the all guys, all girls, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, like when you just go to a show and there is no theme to it aside from just comedy show, everyone finds something. And yeah, you have the person who maybe used to be homeless, and that's like a big part of their actor.
Yeah.
You have the person in like the super white bread upbringing, you know, like Family Matters, or not Family Matters, excuse me. What's the one that Bob Saget was on?
Yeah, Family
Full
Matters.
House.
No,
Full House.
yeah.
Full House. Like the Full House, like white bread, clean, and, you know, cheesy uncles and stuff like that, right? And like just everything in between. And that's what makes it so fun.
Yeah, it truly does. So you mentioned Chicago. Were you in Chicago for a bit?
No, I visited. My buddy, he studied with like all the improv troupes and everything. He runs, we'll give them a shout out. They're good people. He helps run, it's called Batsu. In Chicago, and there's one in New York. There's also one in London. They're expanding. They're great.
Heck yeah.
It's basically take like Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yeah.
But mix it with like a Japanese game show where there's punishments. Remember like Silent Library on MTV?
Yeah.
It's like that. So you do an improv game, and then if you screw up, you'll like get shot with a paintball gun, right? Because you're the first person to screw up. Or the second person game screw up, you get hit twice, right? Like it's stuff like that. It's hysterical. So he does all that stuff. Yeah.
Dude, that's so fun.
Yeah.
You need to talk to him about doing one here.
I know. That would be a good conversation. Yeah. That would be fun. I'm sure he'd love to come out and help expand it and all.
Dude, that would be on your shoulders, sir. I mean, I am tasking you with this.
With bringing it to... All right, I'll talk to him. He and I have been meaning to catch up. We've been texting lately. Just like catching up here and there and all. Because like Chicago, I guess, like still had like some very strict rules on their shows. So like his show only now in like 2024 is just starting to like pick up the momentum again.
Oh, wow.
Like they were still like really hesitant on it. Yeah. Yeah. So,
damn.
But yeah.
Come on, Windy City.
I know. Well, like the New York one ran, and then I think they were part of Edinburgh a few months ago, like right at the end of the summer.
Yeah.
And I think like London, like a venue in London picked them up. And so now they just extended their run in London. It's this great company called Face Off. They're really good dudes.
Dude.
Running it. Yeah. Guys and girls doing improv and sketch. And there's great improv and sketch comics out here. So it would probably actually, you're onto something, Lon.
Yeah. This area, man, it's
very talented.
It's very talented. The issue is that it's spread out. That's always been my argument with it, because again, from the music side of it, and the fact that it's a zero tolerance state when it comes to you know, drinking and driving, that dude, if you have one drink, you know, you could end up, you know, with a DUI, and people, it does, you know, that triggers something. And everything's so spread, so either you're going to drive far. The lift might be more expensive than you're wanting.
Right.
Cheaper than a DUI. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Absolutely.
But it's very spread out. But the cool thing about that is that as it's growing like crazy here, is that those pockets will become a little bit busier.
Yeah.
We just got to get out of this little bubble that the economy's in.
Yeah.
And we'll be better off for it.
Yeah, I think it's already on the upswing.
Yeah.
I think it is. I think the venues are starting to get more full, more consistently full everywhere you go.
And people are getting to know that, hey, there is comedy out here.
Yeah.
And there's some people you want to check out, not just the people touring through, you know, a House of Blues or House of Comedy.
House of Comedy. Yeah.
And CB Live and stand up live
Tempe
and all
Improv,
that.
yeah, exactly. No, which is great, but yeah, there's all the little pop, and even like House of Comedy, they do like the Tuesday, Wednesday off night shows that are a showcase for locals. You know, Mike Drop is, I think, building up a lot of locals. JP's, you can go see a lot of locals. So there's a lot of that mix.
They're working it in there for sure. It's been awesome to see that, because even though I tried comedy back in 2019 for a handful of months.
Oh, okay.
and being back into it now, like I still didn't, it wasn't on my radar. So I know it's not on a lot of people that I know, outside of comedy, that it's not on their radar, that, hey, comedy is something we can go check out and we'll have a good time.
Yeah.
Instead of just like having the touring acts come through.
Yeah.
There's some funny people out here, man.
Yeah. No, it is. It's such a super talented city. I know there's some comics who like want Phoenix to kind of become the number 4 city, I guess, or even try to take over, like, because obviously you have like New York and LA are your 1 and 2, right, for comedy, and then now people are saying like Austin's number 3 because like all the comics are moving there and Joe Rogan and all that, and so I know some comics are like, never mind Austin, let's make Phoenix number 3, or at least let's shoot for it and make it number 4, which I think we have the talent for. I think there's a lot of talent in the city.
I think so for stand up, because in Chicago you do have like Second City, when it comes to improv and all that. So I mean that it is huge. Yeah, they're huge for that. I don't necessarily know their comedy scene. I'm sure
they have stand up. I think
for sure. I mean any big city will, for sure.
Yeah,
especially when you're getting people up there to just kind of get the therapy session in.
Oh, I know. There's still a fine line though between like. Because I always joke when people ask me about like open mics, and I'm like, it's basically like anyone who is sober enough to sign their name on a piece of paper, but drunk enough to think it's a good idea. Yeah. That's who gets up at an open mic for the first time a lot of times. So and there's nothing wrong with it. We all got to start somewhere. But like sometimes I think people just underestimate it. And I think that's because like the really great ones make it look so easy. But then it's like some people just forget punchlines, and you're like, oh, like just keep trying. Like you have a story, but like make it funny. To everyone, not just you. That's all. That's my only critique. Like I respect everyone who gets up and tries, but there is also a little bit of like, can you just make it a little funny?
Yeah, for an open mic. Yeah, you're gonna get everything, and that was, I had my. My mom's been very supportive, and she and one of her friends came out to JP's, and that was a showcase, right?
Right.
So they saw that, and then that same week I did the Tempe Improv, the New Faces.
Nice.
Which is a bringer show. You get 10 people, you can get up on the Tempe Improv stage. That's all it takes.
Yeah.
And it's a bigger club than JP's, more renowned, because it's been around forever. But the show wasn't as good as JP's because JP's was curated. He reached out to the comics that he would want to participate. Versus this one, it's like you're reaching out to the club saying, hey, I got 10 people. All right, cool. Stage is yours.
Yeah.
So they were able to see kind of like firsthand, and then they went to the Wayward open mic, and that was another fucking
That's
thing.
a whole, well, I mean, that's just a full-blown open mic. That's a whole different ball game right there.
But you're able to see the bunch of tears that when you're gonna go check out comedy, it's not it's not a guarantee,
right?
But it's also because it's not a guarantee, you don't know what magic might happen. Whereas like one person just fucking nails their bit, or something crazy just happens. Because we're all crazy, man.
A little bit. You have to be. You have to be to get on stage and be like, I'm going to talk and people are going to find me funny and enjoyable.
There is a little bit of that ego where it's like, I got something to say and it's interesting and it's funny and you're going to want to hear it. So when did you kind of like get the first inclination that like, oh, maybe I want to try stand-up comedy?
I was a kid. I always wanted to be like center of attention. Like I remember being 5 years old, like getting like magic kits. And being like, oh, I want to be a magician when I grow up, or I want to be an actor, because when you're 5, the first job you want is to be Batman, and then you find out that's not real. That's just Michael Keaton who's pretending to be Batman. I'm like, well, I want to do that. So that was what I always wanted to do. And then I remember like my dad would let me watch stand up when I was like a real little kid, like when it was still like on network TV in the early 90s, as like the 80s boom kind of drifted off. And then I would always make my parents laugh at the dinner table. And like real, not like, oh, our son's so cute, like actual, like put the fork down because we don't want to choke. We're laughing so hard. Shit. And then, so growing up in New Jersey, I listened to a show called Opie and Anthony.
Yep.
Yeah, you're familiar. Yeah. So they'd have like all the great New York comics on. You had, Bill Burr and Louis C.K. and Ricky Gervais would come hang out. Patrice O'Neill and Bob, like all those guys would go hang out. And I really liked, one, as a teenager, I liked the lifestyle of, wait, you can just wake up at noon and then you work at night.
It's so crazy.
Yeah, because I was already doing the same thing just with video games. So I was like, oh, that's the perfect job for me. And then, you know, I just kept like studying and watching and all that. So yeah, probably like somewhere in that like 12 to 16-year-old range is where I was like, I think I want to do comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang, dude. That takes a lot of balls at that age.
Yeah.
To do that.
Yeah.
I'm so antiquated with my view of the world, man. I'm like, I'm getting to this point right now where I'm just like, this, and you've always heard it where it's like, you know, this doesn't really make sense. And now I'm just like, none of this makes sense.
Right.
Like what a life, like how people can choose to make lives like a lifestyle, a career out of just almost thin air. Like even to me, like I was watching news anchor bloopers last night, and I was like, what a weird profession news anchors are.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this happened in your area, and I'm the person that you guys like to listen to tell you this news.
I'm the handsome guy or the beautiful woman who I'm going to present it to you now. Right.
Dude, like watching those newsroom bloopers, I'm just like, wait, their life is just to get up and read a teleprompter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just be a talking head.
That's all it is. What? You just present it well. I mean, some of it they have to do the actual writing and reporting themselves. So
especially to get to that point. Especially once you are a news anchor, because I'm thinking, I was like, how do you even get up to those avenues? Well, you got to be a field reporter.
You be the field reporter first, right? Yeah.
So you do some grunt work for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
But then it's like, then you reach a point where it's just, and there has to be an incredible ego attached to that. That is different. I don't know. To me, it'd be different than you know, as a creative, because like I'm making something out of kind of thin air,
right?
You know,
right?
You know, on the spot, or just being that most creative. Whereas, you know, this avenue is like you're taking something here that's happened in the area, somebody else is writing it up for you, and then you're presenting it,
right?
You know, it's
comedy is just pull it out of your head and be like, anyone else think this is weird? And that's what you're doing. Or like, this happened to me this one time. You tell a story or whatever it is. Yeah.
I guess it's like acting, right? I mean, unless you're writing the script, then you're literally just doing that. You're just really good at reciting these lines and conveying an emotion and making it believable.
Yeah, you're emoting. You're becoming another person.
Yeah.
You know, you're really like putting yourself to the side and figuring out like, okay, if I guess
that's what's scary to me. God, the therapy
Yeah.
sessions with Patrick Bean. That's what's scary to me is me becoming something that I'm not and getting praised for it. And I'm like, wait, you guys didn't like me?
Yeah. We know what it is. It's you like me when I'm pretending to be that guy?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I know. Well, that's the interesting, because I did high school and college theater, and I think that's part of the fun. Like, what I love about the arts, and I want to know what you think about it too, with like music and stuff too, because that's like something I haven't like dabbled in. But like acting is, you kind of like all the arts. I feel like you find yourself. Right? We're getting real introspective now.
Yeah, I like it.
You kind of find who you are, like what you like, what you don't like, what you believe, what you don't believe. And so through acting, you do that through like, you know, like you said, the scripts of other people where you portray these characters and you kind of, you find what's similar to that character and what's not similar to that character. Stand-up is kind of the opposite, where you're really just going, all right, what am I? And you rip yourself open. You're like, what do I believe? What do I do this and all? Yeah. You know, so that's the thing with acting, is like, the fun part is, I'm going to portray this other person because it's fun to play pretend. We all did it when we were 5. We played cops and robbers, or, you know, Superman and Justice League and all that, right? We'd pretend to be Superman and Spider-Man. So it's just the same thing, just everyone's on the same page and we're all playing pretend together. And then, you know, if you're at the level of like George Clooney, you're getting paid millions of dollars to play pretend. And it's a wonderful, like, who wouldn't want that job, right?
Dude.
But you're the best at playing pretend. You're amazing at it. In the grand, like, you have proper technique on playing pretend. That's, but it is a serious art form. I don't mean to knock it, but like, you're the best of the best.
Yes, of course. And we can dwindle everything, any profession, down to like, you know,
the actual,
to the point where it sounds like you're just kind of like talking shit about it, but it goes from there, and then it grows legs,
right?
Because that's how, you know, a good bit is that, hey, this is kind of how I think, but then I'm going to make a caricature of it. I'm going to exaggerate these points. I'm going to say something I don't necessarily believe, but because it's funny in this moment. Yeah. You know? Yeah. So there is, it is, that's what I love about comedy, is it is the ultimate truth. It is, because laughter is a so natural and uncontrollable response. Like, you can spot a fake laugh. Like, like that. Right. So with laughter being a reaction, a physical reaction, audible reaction that you really can't control. Because how many times have we fucking laughed at something in a situation where we shouldn't have?
Oh, all the time.
And when you're on stage, it's like all you're trying to do is be as pure as possible to the comedy, to the funny, and it allows you to be, again, yourself, and say, hey, this is what I think, guys. What do you think about this?
Right.
About how I view this? And that's what's cool about the comedy is that you go to a show and it's all perspectives.
Yeah.
We can all touch on the same subject, but our personal, and our history are going to influence which avenue you go down on. Because I saw a comic the other day do a bit on quinceañeras.
Okay.
And I have a bit on quinceañeras.
Right.
And I was like, oh shit, okay, where is this gonna go? Is he and we didn't really step on each other's toes. Like we could do that bit back to back. Like he could do his and I could do mine. And I don't think I wouldn't be offended, if I did it and then he did his, that I'm like, hey, dude, you just did a quinceañera bit and I got one, It's like, how are you going to do that on the same show? But I felt like we did enough of a, like we're going down parallel lanes, right?
Right.
Where we didn't merge at all. And that's the beauty of it is like you're going to find a different angle on the funny because it's your own perspective.
Yeah.
And then finding the people that agrees with is the big part.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's half the fun too, is everyone writes their own experience, but like the more honest you are, the easier it is to find where like it's relatable and everyone has kind of felt it to some degree.
Yeah.
And they laugh at it. Even if they've never put it in words and thought it, they go, that makes perfect sense. And that's where the laugh comes from. Like, oh, that's so true.
Does any joke come to mind where you're like, you don't get a big laugh from the crowd, but you get like one or two hearty, like deep laughs where like that, you know what, it wasn't that funny to everybody, but it was fucking hilarious to this one person or that. Do you have anything that comes to mind that's like that?
There's bits and pieces. I would say it's almost more of an age thing that when I do, because I talk a lot about dating, which again, like thankfully a lot of people have their own takes because everyone talks about dating, right?
Yep.
So I have a joke and I think it really just hits like 30 and up.
Gotcha.
Where I talk about being single in your 30s, and I go, when you're single in your 30s, you don't have emotional baggage, you have emotional luggage, because you've been through all the shit already.
Around,
and it's emotional luggage. It's like the zippers are broken, none of it matches, and none of it fits in the overhead compartment.
Love it.
And like 20-somethings kind of giggle at it, but you can see like 30 and up is like, dude, you are on point.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's like a joke where like, yes, it's funny, but it's more of like, that's just so painfully true. Yeah. I love those jokes.
That is, man. That's for one, very good angle.
Thank you.
But yeah, that would be one that hits with like a specific demographic.
Yeah.
And so you might not get a huge reaction out of the whole crowd, but you're gonna get a very hard reaction from a few people, and that's all it takes, man.
Yeah,
that's all it takes. And you're like, fuck yeah, okay, I'm gonna do it. I just watched Chappelle's special last night for the one he released at the end of the year.
Yeah, it was like New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. Yeah,
gotcha.
Right at the end. Yeah.
And he was just like, and I know he's gotten a little, more on like the, I'm just going to kind of talk about my perspective here, not necessarily just be funny,
right.
To be funny.
Yeah.
He's just kind of like, hey, here's this thought experiment I've been working with. So I know he's like kind of at that point in his career, but even then he was just like, I'm gonna tell this joke and guys ain't gonna like it, but it makes me laugh. Right. And he still just did it. And it's just like, that's the art form, man. It's like, at the end of the day, you guys are here to see me talk. And I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about. Like when I met Jeff Ross a couple weeks ago.
Oh, you did? Nice.
I went to his show. My buddy knows him, so we got to hang out. And he got very cathartic. He talked about a lot of, family loss and, what it means to him and the relationships. And it wasn't all just, shit talking, roasting.
Right. What everyone knows him for. Right?
Yeah, exactly. But you looked around and everybody was just still captivated. Everybody's still paying attention. They're still like engaged. And I think that's the beauty of it, that you get to that point where you're respected, you know, and it's like, okay, this isn't exactly what I expected to see at a Jeff Ross show, but it's still good.
Yeah.
And when I hung out with him in the green room, it was kind of like, he was like, was that a little too raw? Was that? And I'm like, how are you second guessing yourself, man? You're Jeff Ross, bro.
I know.
like you're one of these,
You're a
pillars.
legend.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And even then, it's still just like, what'd you think? Because I mean, a lot of it's based on the audience.
Yeah.
I mean, shit, everything's based on the audience and fans.
But it's reassuring to see someone at that level still be like, did we like asking for like opinions of like, was that too much? Was that good? Was that not good? Where you're like, dude, you should know by now. You've been doing this like longer than some of us have been alive, arguably. I don't know exactly how old he is, but like for as long as I can know, he's always been on Comedy Central. Yeah, exactly. So you're like, how do you're still set? But like, that's the cool thing about the arts is you're always looking to get better. Yeah. So you're always wondering like, ooh, can we twist that? Can we make that better? Can we tighten that up? Can we do that? Like, so to see it at that level, you're like, oh, okay, good. Makes you feel better about second guessing yourself.
Yeah. It does. And it's relatable. And that's where it just opens the door to like what we talked about earlier, where it's like everybody's still trying to figure this fucking ride out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you do stand up in Jersey?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
How long were you in Jersey before you moved out here? Or doing stand up?
So let's see. The first time I did it, I was in high school. I did it like 3 times before I graduated. Which was nerve-wracking because it was in front of my high school like peers.
Yeah.
So it's high school kids can get judgy. Fortunately I didn't suck. I wasn't great. I did passable. And then I started in 06 doing it like regularly. Did it for like 7 years. So from like 18 to 25-ish. And then I just didn't have the work ethic you need in my 20s. I thought like, cause I was such a good student. So I would get like A's and B's just essentially for showing up and paying attention. Like I was naturally just a good student. That was my thing.
I feel that.
So then going out into the real world, I was like, oh, I just have to keep showing up. And the good thing, like I'll get the A's in comedy and I'll move up. And it's like, no, that's not, you have to really work. And so it took me a while. Like it was just kind of like a bit of a culture shock of a way.
Yeah.
So I stopped. And then I moved out here in 2019. And I'd kind of been like, oh, I guess I'll just be a normal guy. And then like February of 2020, I was like, no, I miss it. And I started getting onto it. And then I did a New Faces at CB Live. Yeah. And it was great. And it was like, wow, I really put together this really nice, like 7-minute set. It's like, I was so happy with it. And then the world shut down. And then I had to go sit on the bench for another year and a half. Right. But yeah, so I did it for about 7 years in Jersey from 18 to 25.
Yeah. That's a good chunk, man.
Yeah.
It's a very good chunk. But so you said you came here to what brought you here was the OdySea Museum?
Yeah.
So
work at OdySea in
were
Scottsdale.
Was it just a job or did you have like a passion for like what is the word?
Like animal care?
Yeah, what is it?
Biology?
Yes, that and what's the aquatic biology? What is that one referred to?
Oh, like marine biology
marine
is what
biology,
you're thinking? Okay. So I was, so there's a Six Flags in my hometown, Six Flags Great Adventure. Mm-hmm. And so like the first job I got where I wasn't working for family was I was like sweeping popcorn after the dolphin show that was there, right? And so I met these people who were like head animal trainers. Mm-hmm. And I would always like work with them. So I would do like animal education shows.
Animal trainers?
No, I don't think so. At least not in front of us, I guess we could say. They're very private about it.
Gotcha.
No, so
OdySea nothing.
So I always would like wound up doing like animal shows. And then when it was like, oh, hey, I need health insurance, I should get a full-time job. There's a safari there, and it's like the largest safari outside of Africa. So I became what's called a safari warden, or like a zookeeper, basically. Shit. And that was my full-time job. And that was kind of when I was like, oh, this is a tough job. I don't have time to go hit open mics or do anything. So I'm going to just kind of stop. And I'd occasionally get on stage, but I wasn't pursuing it anymore. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So I was basically a zookeeper for like 6 years.
No shit, dude.
And so that was my full-time job. Yeah, taking care of all those animals. And then I wanted to change a pace. Loved my job, and I just had some coworkers that I didn't really mesh well with. Sure. And that's a lot of people work with animals because they don't like working with people.
For sure.
The problem is you have to work with people to take care of animals. So like it's oil and water everywhere. So I wanted to change a pace. And so some of those like, top of the pyramid, top of the food chain animal trainers had actually been asked to move out to Scottsdale to help open OdySea.
Okay.
And so I had always kept in touch with them. They were friends. And so when it was time to be like, hey, I want to change the scenery. I'm tired of snow, mainly. I called them up or, saw them when they visited and said, hey, like a job. And so I moved out here, and that was October of 2019.
Dang.
So yeah. And then I was like, let me learn what the aquatic side of this. I'd worked with land animals. I took care of bears and lions and tigers, oh my, as well as like some hoof stock and, some bison and deer and some exotic birds and whatnot, baboons even.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was, I had like a little Ace Ventura chapter of my life.
Did you feed them too? So
yeah.
What was the most dangerous animal to feed?
Most dangerous animal to feed? I mean, so technically, I'll give the professional answer. They're all animals, and you try to keep, like, yes, you're taking care of them, but you try to recreate the wild as much as possible.
Gotcha.
So all of them, realistically, I mean, we had elk with full racks that, if they got spooked and they wanted to attack you, especially in mating season in the fall when they're in rut, that's a dangerous time. You got to watch and make sure like the big bull elk, the alpha isn't like trying to charge your truck because we'd all have like pickup trucks, to drive around because it's so much land. You couldn't just walk like a zoo. Right. So I mean, anything could be dangerous really. I mean, the easy answer is like, oh, bears and lions. Cause they're,
of course,
but
and that's what I'm getting at is like when you knew it was feeding time for this animal, you were like, I gotta be on point.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the really big thing is when you're like bringing in the lions and tigers at the end of the day, because the way you coax them in, because of course, they love to hang out outside, but like, especially in the winter months, like, all right, we got to make sure you're locked in. So, the heat's on, everything, you're staying nice and warm.
You got the red light on, you throw on some lingerie.
Exactly. Yeah, just coax them in, that's, I do my dance, right? No, but that's when like you throw the food in. And so you'd go through, but then after that, because you're letting, all these lions or tigers into a house, you like double and triple check, like everything is locked.
Yeah.
Like you and another person like go through and double check every single lock. And so like, honestly, like while that's probably the most dangerous thing, everyone took it so serious that like you always felt safe in that regard. Because everyone's checking locks,
Yeah.
And then, you open a door and a bunch of lions or tigers pour in, you're like, this is like, it's impressive. You get like the goosebumps of like, wow, that is like a powerful predator that I am feeding and just, it is respecting me and not trying to go through this barrier between us because I just gave him or her food.
Yeah. He's like, not today, man.
I'll let the two-legger live for now. Exactly. Fine. Yeah. Well, the best. So when I first started working there, I worked with this guy and he was like tough former Marine. And really cool dude, good friend now. And basically we'd carry the meat in. Basically they would get like these almost like giant, like imagine like a 5-pound Slim Jim with like the proteins and nutrients and all that. That's like how we'd feed the lions and the tigers. And so we'd carry them in and each box weighed like 40 pounds. So, you're grabbing like two of them. So you're carrying like 80 pounds. So you're coming in and, you'd set them down. So we'd set them down up against the wall. And so like my back was to the Pride of Lions that was in there. And all of a sudden, I just feel like just something warm hit my back. And I'm like, oh, what is that? Like, what just happened? And so I put it down. And meanwhile, the guy, the big tough Marine, his friend, my buddy's name is Dave, he like had kind of jumped over to the side because he saw what was happening. He was, oh, buddy, he just marked you as his territory. Like, just the leader of the Pride, like marked me or whatever. And he was like, he goes, this is how I know I can respect you. Cause he's like, I've seen other people get hit with that and they go, oh no. And they drop the food and they run and everything. He's like, you just took it like a champ. You're like, yep, this is part of the job.
What do you mean he sprayed you?
Yeah. Yeah. He sprayed
with his urine.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. He marked me. And then he did it again the second day. And another supervisor happened to be up there with us. And he goes, hey man, at least, if you were in prison, he'd be looking out for you. That's what that means. You're like, you're good. You're on his good side, buddy. I'm like, all right, that's so reassuring to this little 25-year-old zookeeper. Yeah. But yeah, so like little things like that. Yeah. But yeah, that would probably be the most dangerous because I didn't have a change of clothes that day. And I had to drive home in my own car smelling like giant cat urine.
Yeah, that's a moment, man. Because I worked with cows growing up. And so cows are bitch like big, dumb dogs, man. That's what it feels like.
Right.
And, yeah, they would lick you all the time and just smell you and get snot and everywhere. But
yeah,
I never got attacked or anything like that. But yeah, when you're not expecting them to come up behind you and it's like, hey, boom, here's this big animal, but a fucking lion, dude.
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, those were some cool days. I will say.
Was that pre Tiger King too?
It was pre Tiger King. It was very much pre-Tiger King. Because now, like, that's the thing, is I used to put on, like, the online dating profiles, like, oh, yeah, I work with, like, lions or tigers. And, maybe have a picture of, like, me in front of one of the exhibits or something, right? And then Tiger King came out shortly after I moved here. I'm like, well, I can't use that photo anymore. Everyone's going to think I'm a psycho hillbilly. right? Like I already, look like the poster boy of white supremacy with this haircut. Now I'm going to look like I'm just batshit crazy in the backwoods with my little khaki shirt. Like, look at the tiger. It's not the best look anymore.
Not anymore. He ruined it.
He did. He ruined my move because I would get so many swipes. Like I would get a lot of matches and they'd be like, "Oh my God, you work with animals?" And I'd be like, "Yes." And then the conversation would die because that's all they want to know. They want to know, like, if I was a green screen master or something. I was like, no, that's a real tiger in the photo. And they're like, oh, okay, thank you. Have a great day. Good luck to you. And it's like, can I buy you a coffee?
Seems like you already found your pussy.
Exactly. It's like, well, you don't need this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude.
Yeah.
That's so interesting, dude.
Yeah.
Like, to work in an environment like that. It's just so different too. And that's what's cool, that you're able to bring, that perspective into comedy and talk about something that a lot of people would be able to.
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing too. Like everyone knows police officers and firefighters and doctors and lawyers. Like it's very rare to know a zookeeper. So that's like the cool thing too. When you'd be like, oh, I work with animals. Or when I tell people like, oh, day jobs at the aquarium, they're like, what?
Yeah, they light up and become kids.
Oh yeah, they immediately all immediately tell you their favorite aquarium story. It's very fun.
Yeah,
it is. It's cool. It is cool to work in that environment
for sure. Do you have any crazy story? Like, I don't know, something getting out of hand at the zoo?
Oh, man. I don't know.
Or was it usually you guys were on top of it?
We were on top of it. I really can't say there was ever a time where I was like, oh, no, it's dangerous, Did
you sign an NDA? Is that what it is?
Well, you know what it is? So here's the funny thing. This is all I'll say about Six Flags. So I started working there when I was 17, and they just throw a stack of papers at you to be like, say this, say that, or certain things you can and can't say, or you join, I think even... You join a union when you're 17 or something,
dude.
But there's not guaranteed benefit. You have to sign extra paperwork for health benefits if you need them or something. It's a whole, just the hodgepodge of paperwork has never made sense to me. So there's honestly things where I'm like, I don't know what I am and am not allowed to say, but I can honestly say at the safari, I did always feel safe.
Yeah.
I can say that much. Yeah. And I got a lot of good performing experience out of it, through high school and college. But yeah, no, things never really got out of hand at the safari.
Yeah, I guess did you do any tours?
What do you mean?
Like that tour, like the tour guide where they're talking on the mic and they're funny.
Yeah. My last year there as a seasonal, they revamped it so when we were kids, it was a drive-through safari. You just take your own car and drive through and go at your own pace. And then one of the last years I worked there, they turned it into big open air trucks. You had a driver who could take you off the road, and you'd have a guide explaining what all the animals were to you. So the first year of that, I was one of the supervisors, and I helped oversee the guides and make sure they were knowledgeable and were good at presenting the information and entertaining and engaging and things like that.
Ghostwriting for them? Yeah,
a little bit, yeah. Well, somebody else had written it, and then I just made sure it was me, and they brought in an acting coach to help kind of train everybody. And then I was that teacher's pet because she knew I had all the theater experience stuff. She's you're going to be the example. Just don't even sit back down. Just stay up front with me. And so we helped do the tour guide stuff. So that was fun.
That's epic.
That was a fun summer.
So you mentioned making your parents laugh at the dinner table. Were they really supportive of your ventures?
They are. I still to this day secretly think it's reverse psychology. And they're going to be one day he's going to go back to school and be a lawyer or something, the traditional route. No, that's part of why I lean towards doing clean comedy. Because my parents were always in the second and third row. So how would you do anything dirty? And then it's oh, grandma's in town. She's coming to the show. It's well, I can't do the poop joke. I can't do it. I didn't even have a poop joke because I knew my parents. But my parents have always been super supportive, which is great.
Dude, with the podcast I did with Steve and Ty, the host of Comedy Locker at Bogies, we were talking about the Do Better comedy series and how one guy just went up at Devil's Advocate and was just reading the list of the things that, the rules, and it was just long and lengthy and lethargic, and it's just you roll your eyes at it, and to me I was explaining, I was that do better, it's so restrictive, I can't do this, can't do that, and I was saying all these excuses essentially, and then as I'm describing it on the podcast, and I'm just the reasons I don't want to do it, inside I'm just like, these all just sound like excuses, and it sounds to me like I got to get my shit together and become a better writer,
right? Okay,
to allow myself to present a clean show.
Yeah.
And so like in that moment, it was just like this flip of like, yeah, I think it's kind of dumb, this and that, and then I was like, wait, these all just sound like excuses.
Yeah.
Time to get my shit together.
Well, that's, yeah, like I haven't been there in a while, but I've always enjoyed the Do Better brand. Like I used to go to the mics and do the shows and stuff. And yeah, I look at it the same way as when you get, excuse me, booked for like a clean comedy show. There's a list of things you can't say or talk about. Yeah. This is the same thing. It's just a different things where they're like, hey, just don't joke about that. That's all it is. So like, and I get it's, as comics, we're all a little bit of rebels. So when you get that list of like, you can't say this, there's that, you know, it's like when someone says, don't push the button. It's like, I really want to push the button. Like you get it, but like, that's just their brand. Yeah. And it's, you know, it's okay. Like, and like you said, it forces you to become work on going for a bigger and smarter joke, maybe, perhaps. I mean, and I love dirty humor too, don't get me wrong, but like, it's the different, you know, genres. Like when I used to explain it to people when they first started Do Better is don't make the joke of like, my wife said this, what a dumb broad. That's such a lazy joke. If it's my wife said this, and then you deconstruct why what the wife said is like weird, and the joke is about the thought and not the dumb person who said it, like that's, in my opinion, a better joke, a better crafted joke, and that's more what people want to hear, and that's something everyone can laugh at.
Yes.
So and I think they say it maybe in more words than that, and that's where like the confusion and that immediate pushback from people comes. But like that's all they're doing is just looking for like, hey, just don't go for like the easy joke. Yeah, you can just write better, you know.
Exactly. No, that's totally what it is. I mean, I have a joke in that vein where it's I was just like, I guess all guys just kind of inherently feel like their girlfriends aren't that smart. You know, you feel like you're just more intelligent than them. And it's a flip on like, oh no, we're the idiots for thinking that. Right. You know? And but I'm still trying to work that out, because I did it at Pub Rock the other day, and I was like, don't you fellas, don't we think like our girls are just like, just not too smart? And some girl at the bar is like, you better readdress that line. I was like, no, stay with me. But it's it's saying that. And when it first came to my mind, I bring everything up to my girlfriend just to kind of get a little bit of a balance. Sure. And I was like, you know, I was using dumb, and she's like, dumb just sounds a little harsh. Like, think, you know, come up with a better way. 'Cause she's like, the first time you said it, I was like, what'd I say? I was like, oh, I guess maybe not too smart, or you know, something like that. In the vein, like where it softens the blow but still gets my point across. But it's that I love bits like that where it's like you say something and these people's initial reaction is like, ew, why the fuck are you saying this? But then you go through your joke, and you allow that, you take them on the ride to your, you know, your mental gymnastics or whatever your explanation is, and then you get them on your side. Like that is like a great fucking joke in my opinion. That's what I aim for.
When the setup catches someone off guard and they're like, wait, what? Even, you know, there might be like a small bit of pearl clutching perhaps, right? And then at the end it's like, oh, I do agree with what he's saying. All right, I agree, that's a really fun joke. That's a fun way to set it up and present an idea.
And that's naturally that is like we talked about the truth and honesty. Like that is a thought that I had, where it was just like, I inherently, like, I think you hear guys talk all the time, and it's like you just feel like, you know, like this is the case. And just to kind of give you my fucking joke, it's basically it's we know where we're fucking up, and we know our shortcomings. So I'm like, wait, how smart can this girl be if she's falling for me, you know, because we know where we're fucking, you know, just not the best that we can be. So like a part of me, that's where like that train of thought came from. And that's why it's like back on us, you know, that, you know, it's not, I'm not calling girls dumb. I'm just saying, no, that's our own bullshit. We almost kind of project it out onto them. Like, whoa, I know I'm not smart, but this person, and then, you know, and then usually it's like, oh no, they are smarter than me. That's fine. She has a fucking salary job with benefits.
Exactly. It's one of those things. It's like, oh, they like use their college degree, and I I tell jokes. All right, that's cool. Yeah.
That missed the mark a little too much.
Exactly. It's like, oh, no, they won. They're far smarter.
Dude.
Yeah.
So you got a special, huh?
I do.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah. It's I want to preface as well. Like, yes, it's more of a group special. I like in promoting it. It's like, oh yeah, my special's out, and it's like it's me and 4 other comics. But
Dope.
yeah, it's cool. It's all local Phoenix comics.
Is it kind of like the Kings of Comedy, Latin Kings of Comedy, the like that kind of like style, or was it your guys' own shows that you guys blended together for the main show?
It's a little bit a Kings of Comedy in that like it's all filmed in one night and it's all of us in front of the same audience.
You guys are calling yourselves Kings of Comedy, right? Is that
no, that would be wow. I haven't had that big of an ego since I was like 17. I think I actually put next King of Comedy like engraved on my senior year yearbook.
Yes.
Well, because it's also a reference. There's a Robert De Niro movie called The King of Comedy, and he's like this psycho guy who's obsessed. I think Jerry Lewis plays like a Johnny Carson type figure or something. Yeah, it's very like I haven't even been able to find it on like Amazon.
Oh, really?
It's apparently a really good movie. But yeah, he plays like this crazy guy who like kidnaps Jerry Lewis live on air and becomes the new host of the show. And then it ends in like he's in prison, but this thing went like, viral in the 70s, right? Like it was a huge TV hit, like the finale of MASH. And he becomes like the new late night talk show host after he gets out of prison. Like it's just this weird twist ending. So that's what it was a reference. But anyway, now. So,
wait, hold on. You brought something up though.
Please, yeah.
What's the finale of MASH?
The finale of MASH? Oh, isn't it wait, do you really not know?
No, I don't know.
Do you know what the show MASH is?
I know MASH.
Okay.
Yeah, it was about the Korean War.
Vietnam
War? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's about like the army docks in Vietnam. So the end is I think Hawkeye either finally is discharged or he moves to a new base or something.
Yeah.
And that was just at the time, there weren't as many TV channels, there was no streaming and stuff. And MASH had been running so long and people loved that show to the point where like for the longest time that was like the #1 watch television event, like out of a seasonal thing, like, at that time.
Gotcha.
And I think it's still a record that might even hold up by certain standards.
Yeah, for certain metrics, I'm sure.
Yeah. But it was like the first groundbreaking thing that like everyone watched that wasn't like the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Like,
Gotcha.
yeah, it was that level.
Gotcha. Okay, back to you guys calling each other Kings of Comedy.
Yes, the Kings, well, and Queens. We have a few ladies.
Nice.
No, it's I compare it more to like the Rodney Dangerfield specials.
Okay.
Where it's just have like a few comics coming out and doing like 10 to 15 minutes and just fills like a quick little hour special, basically.
Nice.
Yeah, it's myself, Carrie Gallagher, Lou Moon, Zach Lyman, and Lola Hernandez. So it's a really nice lineup. Yeah. And kind of like what we were talking about before, where like it's something different. Like everyone has their own unique style. Like everyone is going to find a comic on there that they like. Like they might not find me funny and that's fine, but like you'll love Lola or you'll love Lou or Carrie or whatever it is. Because everyone has their own thing they bring to it.
Oh, that's cool, man. When was it filmed?
It was filmed in May of 2023.
Oh, okay.
And then it just came out in December of 23. So Zach took it upon himself. Zach's whole thing for it was let's film a special on like a shoestring budget, small intimate venue. And like, let's see if we can still get it on a big streamer. And then spoilers, it's on Amazon, so we won.
Bang.
Yeah, exactly. So thesis proven correct. But yeah, so that was the plan. It was filmed at the Reiki Academy in Phoenix.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Reiki Academy.
The Reiki Academy, yes.
Dang. How was that as far as like a venue?
It was cool. It's, again, it's a small room, only sat like 20, 25 people.
Oh, wow.
Zach lives in New York now. He used to live here and he used to run like monthly shows there.
Oh, gotcha.
And that was his thing. He was like, it would be cool to film something here. Like he always said that while he was producing it. And then he filmed a thing called The Big Laugh, which also features a bunch of really good local comics. And so that came out on streaming services. And he was like, all right, that was like an episodic thing though. Gotcha. He's like, I want to do one. He thought of it almost like as a movie. Or like just 1 1-hour special featuring 4 or 5 comics. And so that was what this one was. Yeah.
Very cool, man.
Yeah,
I'm not familiar with the place, but I mean, you describing it brings like a cool aspect to the visual, sense of how it could be shot.
Yeah.
I'll have to watch it this week, man.
Yeah, it was shot very cool. Like the lighting is very cool and it's a very nice colorful background. I think they had like recently just painted it. So it looks nice and clean and crisp and everything. It's wonderful.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah, it was a very cool spot.
So it's on Amazon, and what's it called?
It is called Zen Comedy.
Zen Comedy.
Filmed at the Reiki Academy, so it's Zen Comedy, which I find kind of funny because even in like the promos, it was like almost like, like those sound baths that they do,
Yep,
like that,
yep.
like that was used in like the promotional stuff when we were promoting, like, hey, we're filming and doing all this. And then it's like, I know I'm just an angry guy from Jersey. Like, I'm so not zen when I'm on stage. In my personal life, I can be zen, I can be chill, I can relax. But as soon as I get on stage, I'm like, you know what really grinds my gears?
Yeah,
like, yeah.
That's
So
funny.
yeah, I loved that too. And even like Carrie Gallagher's from Philly, so she's got the same like mid-Atlantic Northeast anger place she comes from. Lola's got like some fire to her. I don't know if you've seen Lola before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Lola's got a lot of energy.
Exactly.
And then even like Zach's probably the most zen. And even still, he has points where he has to like hold the mic out here because he's yelling. So like I think the name is great in that way too, because we all have these moments where we go off the rails.
Yeah, nice.
In a good way.
And you have to kind of gather yourself. Okay.
Yeah, and you just transition to the next topic. Yes, exactly. It's like, okay, now we're going to talk about online dating. Which then that is the reaction to online dating. It's like, no, not again.
Is there something that's just more talk shit about than online dating? Why is that? And it's such
Because
a
it's
fucking
so
big
universal.
thing. And it's
so-
such a big fucking thing. It's still popular, but
Yeah.
everybody just talks shit about it.
I know. Well, it's the necessary evil. It's the
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Like, did you meet your lady on online dating, or you met in the wild?
We met in the wild. man.
Oh, you have self-esteem. That's great. That's great. You approached a human in the wild.
She came to my mom's garage sale,
Oh, really? Okay, that's a cool story.
and it was
Yeah.
the best find of her life. Hey!
Hey, there it is.
No, our situation's super weird, man. That house that me and my brother bought to move my
Yeah.
mom up was her parents' neighbor's house.
Oh, okay.
So her parents are my neighbors.
Oh, very cool.
And her dad's a field pastor, and I'm a self-proclaimed atheist. And
It's a fun mix.
I've
It's a
been-
great sitcom you're pitching me
Dude.
already.
and I've been to 2 of his men's retreats, Christian base and all that,
Yeah.
just to support them and
Yeah.
what they're doing for men and troubled youth and just people going through the throes of life. But it's hilarious, man. Like
I
I
bet.
knew I'm just like. I met her and I'm just like, oh no, this is gonna be trouble. I'm like, my neighbor's daughter, and like she has her own house. It's not like she lives there, but it was just like this whole fucking thing. And
Yeah.
one thing leads to another, and we're good. But yeah,
Nice, man.
I tried the whole Tinder thing when I got divorced,
Okay.
and no action whatsoever. I didn't pay for anything, so I don't know if that was part of the gig where it's like
Probably at that
if you're not
point, yeah.
paying for it, you're not
Yeah.
gonna get the most out of it as a dude.
Right.
So I fucking had that for all like a month and a half, and then I joined a band, and there goes you're dating. It's like
Yeah. Well, then the women really flock to you when you're in a band. That's
Yes.
you played the cheat code. You're like, I'm going to get really good at this cool thing that not everyone can do. I'm going to play music. It's the universal language, and the women will come to me. Yeah.
yeah. It's if you're having trouble, guys, just join a band.
Just join a band and just learn guitar or bass or drums, or what was your instrument?
Bass.
Bass.
See, I'm the
Perfect,
worst
yeah.
instrument in the band.
No, you
right?
don't. There's no such thing. Even drummers get way too much shit. If you're in the band, like, come on. Like, no one would not trade places with Lars Ulrich. Okay? He's a drummer. It's fine. Yeah.
It's true.
It's a good instrument.
Well, I need to do a bathroom break.
Okay, yeah.
Let me take coffee black this time, so I
You want
can
a black?
get on your level.
Oh, yeah, because I need some black coffee as well. We'll do that. Yeah,
and then
take
we'll
5.
come back to our everyone's favorite subject, online dating.
Perfect.
Hey. Well, welcome back.
And we're back.
And we're back.
And we're back.
So we're talking about you losing your virginity on Grindr.
Yes, it was a dirty truck stop bathroom. And just Buford was very gentle. No.
So what's your experience been on a cheers to a black coffee?
Cheers to a black coffee, buddy. Oh, this is fun. Thank you. God, we should do this more often. Like, even without the mics. Just grab coffee, hang, chat.
Dude, let's do
I'll
it.
come your way next time.
Okay.
Good? Yeah? No.
Yes.
Okay. You can be critical. It's the coffee pot made it. I just pressed the button.
No, it's good. It's got a nice coat to my tongue.
Yeah. That is what I like about coffee.
Yeah. So what's your experience been online dating? Was it different in Jersey than it's been in Arizona?
I was only online dating in Jersey probably for about 6 months, and then a girl I had been friends with for a while, a mutual friend was like, "Hey, she's into you," and I was like, "Oh, I've always kind of been into her." And then we dated for like the rest of the time I lived in Jersey. So I've really only done it out here, so it's hard to compare. I I think I maybe had 2 dates from it in New Jersey. And then out here, it's been more like, oh, yeah, okay, like get a match and talk. And it's been more successful out here, but also because I've been on and off of it for the 4 years I've been here.
Nice.
So,
do you have a cheesy go-to place?
A cheesy go-to place?
Like I had a buddy that would go up to like Westworld area.
Okay.
And they would go for a walk, and he knew there was a piano there. And he's like, "Oh, a piano! I kind of know how to play." And then we would do like that whole thing.
That's a good move, though. That's cheesy, but that's a good move. As someone who can't really play instruments that well, like I have the ukulele right there, and I learned a little bit of piano, but like that's a good move. I think I applaud your friend on that.
Well, I saw as I walked in, you have all these fucking belts from your karate, and you were an instructor.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, I still teach a little bit. The school in Jersey, Pineland Martial Arts, will Skype me in when when my schedule and their schedule works. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, so I'll Skype in to still teach there. And then I help at, it's called All Stars. It's the Toshikan school. It's like a Taekwondo karate hybrid out here in Phoenix. I'll pop in when I'm not doing like comedy on a Friday. I'll pop in over there and help teach.
No way. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't like, it's one of those things like I don't like talking about it. I don't mind talking about it, but like I don't advertise it as much because I don't want people who are like, "Oh, you think you're a tough guy?" It's like, no, I'm not. Happens. Like I'm just chill. Like especially like egos and like we're around drunk people all the time on stage. Like I don't really write jokes about anything from like teaching karate because I don't want to invite it. Like I know there's a story. I think they talked about it on the radio, so I don't think he'll mind. There's a comic in Jersey named Jeff Norris, and I think he's like a judo black belt, and he was like a really high level martial artist.
Yeah.
And he, after a show, was dealing with like some drunk guy who like followed him to his car and was just like talking all this. And Jeff is trying to just walk away, and he's big jack dude. Like he's not a man. You remember Otto and George?
Yeah.
George, the puppet, would call him the Great White Gorilla because he was just a beast. So this guy like just I guess tries to like do something, like start something with Jeff, and I guess Jeff just like flipped him.
Yeah, of course.
In the parking lot, and the guy like obviously just shut down. So like Jeff had to like go back to the venue and be like, all right, look, just call the cops. Like I had to drop this guy. Like I'll stay for whatever, but like just I'll sit here, have a cop, whatever, and but like, and that's the thing. So like I would never want that experience to come back on me,
dude. A step in throw like from a badass judo guy that's huge like that.
Yeah,
you're done, man.
Yeah,
you're fucking low. Your hip hits that concrete, the tar, or fucking the parking lot, and
and it's like
done,
and I've met Jeff. Jeff's like one of the nicest guys. Like I know he hated having to like cause any harm to anybody, but it's so I always try to avoid that type of situation. Like I can't imagine. And again, this is a whole other level, but like even like Joe Rogan talking about like his Taekwondo background, like I'm sure how many times people like try to start.
Oh yeah,
and, you know what I mean.
You're so close. I mean, not so close. You're in the UFC, and you train with fighters. You roll all the time. Like guys are just like that. Like, oh, I want to test myself, against this guy. And then you fucking get a little liquid courage, and next thing you know, you're fucking, saying some shit you shouldn't have, putting your hands to somewhere it shouldn't have been, and
and then the hand gets broken. Right.
Fuck around, find out real quick.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah. But like, and that's the thing too. What I love about martial arts is like, they're all like the kindest people. Like, especially like the traditional martial, like I met some MMA guys who are also very peaceful, but like traditional martial artists are always like the sweetest, kindest, gentlest human beings. And then you see them hit a heavy bag and you're like, holy shit, I don't want to piss this person off.
Yeah.
Like you see, they got like knuckles that are like made of concrete coming out of their hands. Yeah.
Yeah. There's that level of confidence that, I'm tested. I know kind of where I sit, where I stand, and, I know my place, it's like, I'm not gonna, I don't want any harm to come to me, and I don't want to cause any harm.
Right.
And I get out my shit, my aggression. I had that when it comes to like aggression and just like, all this built up stuff that we just kind of shove down because of just society, the way society is nowadays. That I went to a WNBA game of all things, right?
Okay.
Where I got this, and maybe I was a little high. All right. And I'm sitting in the suites, and everybody around me is like shouting, and I don't follow sports like I did back in the day. I haven't played sports like I used to.
Yeah.
And I'm like looking back, and I was like, when's the last time I really like screamed and really had like this guttural feeling like,
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't recall. And I'm like, that's kind of like what's missing in my life. And I have to imagine a lot of people's lives where it's like so pent up, everything gets shoved down. And then you don't have that opportunity to really get it out and have like a visceral moment.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, what happens at the grocery store and you're unloading on somebody in the aisle or the cashier or something. It's like, dude, you should have done that on a heavy bag or, go somewhere else to really get out that pent up energy and aggression that's built into us, man. We're human.
Yeah.
You're human. So if you can unleash that on a heavy bag or a training partner, then you're less to do that outside in the world. And that's why I think a lot of those people are really calm.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
They get it out.
Yeah, it's a little bit like you said. It's that confidence of like, oh, I'm trained. I know what to do in a situation, or at least I'm familiar with it, right? But yeah, it's also just, I mean, any form of exercise is a way of releasing that where you're no longer pent up. Because especially like I know I always get road rage. Like no matter, I can do like 1,000 kettlebell swings and then go outside, I'll still get road rage. But like I know my blood pressure won't rise as much from it. You know what I mean?
You've mitigated it.
Yeah, I've taken the edge off, so I'm not gonna just have an aneurysm and blow a blood vessel on the road driving down, Bell Road. Yeah.
Oh my God, you road rage here.
It's
one of the worst places to have it too, man. Everybody be packing.
Oh, I know. Well, that's why I don't like stick up the fingers. I don't give anybody the Jersey salute. I just kind of hang out and I just like, all right, I just yell like a maniac in my car. In the privacy of my car, I just yell like a lunatic. And then just go about driving and then, turn the blinker on and all right, back on with my day. I'm going to go to the gas station now. But yeah.
Dude, this coffee is good.
Good. All right. Good. I'm glad you like it.
Yeah.
But this is why I love black coffee, because you just get the most flavor out of it.
You really do, man. Yes, it's good to have something sweet, but dude, we went to Vegas for my mom's 60th birthday.
Yeah.
And
it's a badass
my
idea.
girlfriend's like, you got to go to the Caesars buffet. The Caesars buffet is just legit. So we fucking go, spend way too much money at this place, but it was fucking great. And my mom has such a sweet tooth, and she's just kind of like, and she doesn't do like a lot of like exotic foods. She's very kind of like real straightforward. And we were just like, what do you think about this? She's like, oh, that's really bitter. Oh, that's tart. Oh, that's this. And she had like this pineapple turmeric drink smoothie thing. And I was like, oh, that looks good. And she tasted, she's like, oh, that's really bitter. And then I'm like, there's no way. So I went and grabbed my own. I was like, this is fucking delicious. But you're so used to, like when people go to Starbucks and they grab like a Frappuccino. Or that's dessert. That's two desserts in one cup.
Yeah.
You're not getting coffee. You're getting a sugar rush out of it. And that starts to color what coffee should taste like. And yet here we are, because I've had black coffee before, but where is this from? It's Costco.
This is I'll show you the can before you jet. It's just like their basic, not basic, but like it's like the Kirkland brand, 100% Colombian ground beans, and I'm an addict, so I buy it like 3 pounds at a time. It's a giant can.
They're doing something right at Costco.
They are.
Well, their Kirkland stuff is people. They tout all the time. Like we talked about vodka. I'm not a big fan of vodka, but I know one of my friends that's really into, that world. They're like, the Kirkland, rum or it was something like that. Like either that or the whiskey or something. They're like, I know for sure one person was talking about the vodka and man, there's got to be something else that they're doing. It's Costco's huge.
Well, so I mean, a lot of places do this, but it's called white labeling. Where, like, because I would swear, I would put it up there. I'm so glad you like it. Yes. This is why we're friends, Juan. Just among many other reasons, just the appreciation of coffee. No, but I would be willing to bet that if you go and buy Kirkland Irish whiskey, it's just Jameson in a Kirkland bottle.
Yeah.
It tastes so good, and it tastes just like Jameson, and like that. But that's what they do with a lot of it is they'll make that deal with a company, and they'll get pour it out of the barrel and stuff, and then just slap their label on it, which is fine.
Yeah.
But that to me is the workaround, and you're buying it in the Costco. It's like a gallon of whiskey, and it like lasts me a couple years. I don't drink very heavily. Like occasionally I'll have people over, like, hey, I got nothing to do. Then I'll throw a little in the coffee maybe. But yeah, and just. Yeah, it's so good, but it's, a cheaper label.
That's clean. So Taekwondo and karate, man.
Yeah,
So what drove you to that? Were you like in one of your first like fights as a kid and you're like, I can't have this anymore?
No, that would be a fun origin story. No, just like everyone probably our age, growing up, I loved the Ninja Turtles and Batman and Power Rangers. And so what's the common thread? They all know martial arts. So when I was a kid, I took like a community education, like 10-week course. And I liked it, but then as a kid, I was also like, I want to try t-ball. I want to do soccer. I want to do basketball.
Yeah.
And so there's only so much time in the day. So I went through the rounds of all the sports in elementary school. And then I got to 4th grade and I'm like, no, I want to go back to karate. That's like the thing.
I want to kick my teacher's ass.
Yeah, I just want to kick people. I want to kick people. And so I just stuck with it. And then what was great, it turned out the same school that ran the community ed was the school that my mom signed me up for. And she like remembered the head instructor and all this. And so I signed up and then never...
Oh, that's a callback, baby. Hey.
He's such a nice man. The chief instructor. Let's go with that phrase. Yeah, the chief instructor. Yeah. So, and then, just jumped in and that was 25 years ago now.
Dang.
Yeah. 26 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. 98.
Hey, what are you? You're in your mid 30s?
35. Yeah. I'll be 36 in April.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. I just turned 36.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah, I knew we were about like the same age.
It sucks. It doesn't suck.
I saw you doing yoga beforehand. You're mobile. We're the healthiest mid 30s people. Like, I see other people who don't like do anything physical, and it's not even that like they look like they're in bad shape, but it's just like you see them move, and I'm like, oh, that's rough.
That's the biggest thing. So,
yeah.
I try to run 50 miles in July.
Okay. That's a hell of a month to do that in Arizona, for the record, especially this past one.
Yes.
That was a horrible life choice.
I made it, it was on National Ice Cream Day, and I made it 17 miles before this knee wanted to blow out, and then I walked until I hit 40.
Okay.
And the fallout was my sciatica really fucking flared up.
Yeah.
First time I've ever experienced that. And I've always prided myself in my flexibility. I can touch my toes, standing for a hamstring stretch, like all that, right?
Yeah.
And I couldn't bend like 2 inches down, dude.
Yeah.
Because it was just firing like crazy.
Yeah.
And to me, like that's when I'm fucking up. I don't care about benching more than the next guy. I don't care about squatting more than this.
Right.
To me, it's longevity and a healthy body, a healthy vessel.
Yeah.
And I did a challenge, which I don't recommend. You know, I don't recommend you do this on the regular.
Right.
You know, but there was a part of me that was making like a not a circus of this act, but also like this guy's crazy. He's 115 out here and he's trying to run 50 miles and this and that is like just to kind of promote, you know, to be like, well, this guy's doing that. Maybe I could walk around the block once, you know, do something more, just a bit more. And, but the fallout was, my sciatica was acting up. And then to me, I'm like, okay, now I'm failing because now I'm losing my flexibility. Because to me, being flexible both in mind and body is the utmost, you know, is me being successful in my journey through this life. Yeah. And so I kind of fucked myself in that. So I when I walked in and saw that yoga mat, I was like, and your kettlebells, like, and then I saw your karate stuff. I was like, dude, man. Yeah. And then the magic cards, dude, you're pretty well versed, man.
I try. People, it's funny. Some people who start to learn this, they're like, you're a Renaissance man. I'm like, dude, stop. I can't paint. It's not me. I'm not good at everything. Like I focus on stand up, but like I can, so the funny thing, my best friend who I want to start a podcast, we're in the process of starting a podcast with a magician named George G. We'll like FaceTime and we'll talk or whatever. And just, if I'm on the phone with people, I'll start like just shuffling the cards for fun, just like do something with my hands, right? I get fidgety. And, he was like, whoa, do that again. And so I shuffle the cards. He's like, dude, you shuffle better than me. And then I show him the cards. He's like, oh, those are like cheap cards. It's not real like playing cards. Like he has real playing cards. Yeah. That he works with. He's like, you next time you come over, you'll shuffle real playing cards. You'll see it's not that easy.
Because they're just stiffer. Okay. Is that what the whole thing?
Yeah, they're stiffer. They're like built more rigid. Like it's not paper, but that's a lot lighter and flimsier.
Yeah.
Than like a real playing card. He's also like a big poker guy. So he has like, between Magic and his love of poker, he's got like a bunch of decks.
And I'm sure that there's something to be said for the audible nature of the shuffle.
Yeah.
You know, so you want a rigid card so it sounds cool as you're like flipping it through your hands and stuff. There's got to be that built into it for sure.
Oh, yeah. As soon as he saw those cards, he's like, you're not doing real cards.
There's only one type of man I'm afraid of stealing my girl. Mm-hmm. And it's sad to say that it's a magician. God damn, she loves magic.
Which is so funny because like there's like the fake hierarchy of performing, right? People joke like, all right, comedians are here, but magicians are here. And it's like, how? Do you understand what they do? Like my buddy George always cracks a joke. He's like, you know me, I'm just a prop comic. I'm like, no, you're not. You make shit disappear. You make things reappear. Like we did a show in October back in Pennsylvania. We did like this fundraiser show, and like it's a lot of work to do magic. Like when we you know it as a musician.
Yeah.
Just the load in process. You have to get to the venue like 2 hours early. Same thing with a magician. He's got to come in and set up, and he needs this table because that's where he does the card tricks, and then he needs this. And he sets up his own backdrop. And all. As comics, it's like, oh, the show's at 7, I'll be there at 6:45.
Yeah, exactly.
Like there's no prep time. It's like, let me just grab a drink, and I'm going first. Let me grab a drink. I'll be right up. It's so easy. So yeah, but for like him, because he's a professional magician, he has all his stuff that he has to set up beforehand and set the stage. So it's very different. And
it is. They get undue discrimination and hate in this. It's even prop comics. Like Carrot Top did for the longest time, and musician comics. Like I know people have asked me, they're like, well, why don't you bridge the gap in music and comedy? And I'm like, well, for one, I'm not that good at either for it to be like a whole thing that I can do together. And I also want my comedy to kind of stand on its own. I want it to just be a thought process other than having this kind of thing that I'm using. But it's like my hat's off to people that do that, like Bo Burnham and Dimitri Martin and John White, one of the local guys. I mean, he's fucking fun. That's amazing. Love John. But it's not what I want to do.
Right. There's also a stigma. I don't think John's gotten the brunt of it. There is a stigma where like I know a lot of comics were like, oh, that guy brings a guitar, that's a cheat code. Because somehow they think like everything's automatically funnier just because it's to a melody. No, not always. No.
No, because there's another guy that's doing it here locally, and he's had a few bits that don't quite hit, but he's got a fucking great voice, dude.
Yeah,
he does have a really great voice. I'm like, dude, you should be writing jingles too for like commercials.
Right.
But it's anytime there's props, anytime there's more than just you and the mic, people definitely are just like, throwing shade on it.
Yeah, there's purists who are like, nope, it's microphone, mic stand, stool. That's it. And
that's where I'm at.
Sure.
That's what I want to do.
Sure. And I like the challenge of confining myself to that, but that doesn't mean that's all you have to stick to. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and like, again, not that I'm familiar with all of his work, but do you listen to the Blocks podcast?
No.
Neil Brennan? Oh, that's a good one.
Really?
I recommend it. He interviews comics, and it's a lot of like all the hangups all the comics have of things like imposter syndrome or anxiety.
Dude, I gotta get on that.
Yeah, it's a really good one.
Okay.
He had Carrot Top on like a month or so ago, and he talks about it. It's like, it's not just like, oh, I find this TV remote control and I make a bunch of jokes about TV or what, right? Like he's taking time to like build these things and like come up with all this stuff. And, sure, sometimes maybe it's silly. Yeah. But like just the thought process behind it, it's the same writing process. He just has the physical thing. Like he talks about, he got a compliment from George Carlin, which like, that's my goat, as you can see up there, the picture and all. Where Carlin told him like, I love the I know it's bow down. It was really weird. I used to have that in my bedroom. It's an autographed Carlin headshot for those watching and listening. And they the girl would like sleep over and be like, it feels weird opening my eyes and just seeing Carlin the first thing in the morning. And I'm like, it brings me joy, but I'll move it to the living room. You bring up a good point.
She doesn't mean it, St. George.
George, she doesn't mean it. It's okay. No, but like, because he had Carrot Top had a joke about like, the old like tin can phone thing that we all had with the string. Yeah. And how he like built on, I guess he had this bit. He talks about it, so I'm not stealing a joke or ruining it. But about how he like, I call waiting, and he pulls out like another can is connected to it on his end, and just how it all like, and it's just this massive web of like the string and the tin can and this and that, and like it just builds and builds and builds. And Carlin compliments him on it. He's like, that's a genius bit. Just, however he specifically did it. I don't know the punchlines worked in, but like just that idea and then the ability to build it and, physically present it to the audience. And I have friends, my best friend lives in Vegas. And so when we went out for his wedding, so the one night of the bachelor party, all the girlfriends were like, well, we need to do something that night, right? And so they went and they got like last minute tickets to Carrot Top. And they were like, it was hysterical. Yeah. They went into it thinking like, oh, it's cheap. Because he has that stigma about him.
That's almost better.
Great.
That's almost better.
Yeah.
Like you went in with like low expectations.
And then he blew him out of the water.
Blew him out of the water.
Yeah. They were like, he was really funny. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why like when I take a girl home, you know, I talk shit about my sex game. And so when it's just average, then they're like, oh, okay.
Oh, that's so much better. He's so rough on himself for no reason. It was enjoyable. Yeah. I rated a 7. Like, or whatever. Yeah.
That's good to get your dues or you get a compliment from someone like that's,
yeah,
you know, that you revere.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, whenever I always take like, it's great, you know, after a show when like the audience comes up and is like, hey, it was really funny. That was great. You know, those compliments always mean the world. Mm-hmm. But like when other comics come up to you and are like, dude, that bit, that line, or that, like, like that to me is like the highest compliment.
It is,
you know?
when you get a compliment from the host.
Yeah.
Like one of the ones I got from Fish at the Devil's Advocate one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I went up there just planning to just vent. I was having a bad weekend. I was just going to vent. You know? I was going to be one of those people for once.
Right.
And then I got there and was like, oh no, there's an actual audience here. Mm-hmm. It's not just the comics.
Right.
So then I went and just performed some of the bits that I had. And I've been performing for all of like 4 months at this point.
Okay.
And I got off and I felt like I did well. I was like, okay, that went, you know, well for not being prepared and just in general. And he goes, dude, he's all really good transitions tonight. Really, everything flowed with this. And I was like, really? I was like, dude, that's all it took to get a compliment from the host who sees everybody there and
every single week,
you know, and they roll their eyes, you know, when certain performances go on from even if they like you, it's just like, okay, but to get a compliment from that, from him in that moment. And I know this one time I was at Spinelli's in Gimmick, Lewis Jones, he to one of my bits, he went, I had him on video and he's like,
nice.
You know, to get that from someone that's throwing their own shows and that's definitely a huge boost. You know, that you ride that wave. You know.
Well, yeah, because everyone knows what it's like to sit there and write, and then you go up and you're always a little nervous when you're trying something new. You're like, this might only be funny to me, and then you know you work it and you figure it out and you write and you rewrite and you figure out what line works and what doesn't, and then when you put it together and you find that perfect combination of the words and the timing and everything, and then another comic's like, that's it, that's a good one, like that's the best feeling, that's the biggest compliment.
And that's why like I have trouble doing a lot of the same bits because I'm almost like, well, you guys, I know it's funny now, I don't want to do it.
Right.
Because I'm just like, I want to try some. How do you like this? Oh, wait, you didn't like that? Oh, well, you don't like it yet. You know, but I know you like this, so I'm almost disinterested with doing this now.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because like I have nothing. You know, I'm so fresh into this, but I don't know. To me, it's just premises and scenarios and all that. Because at the end of the day, comedy is just your perspective.
Yeah.
It's unending. So we laughed about it, like me and Steve and Ty on our podcast, where I'm like, I haven't heard anybody try to steal my joke yet. And I go, does that mean I'm not any good?
It's not worth it?
Yeah.
Right.
You know, part of me is like, oh no, like, you know, maybe I'm not that funny then. But I'm not afraid that's going to happen. Because for one, I film a lot of my stuff, so I have timestamps.
Sure. Right.
But also it's like, cool, have that. All right, cool. I'll come up with another premise.
That's a big thing. I know. What was it? There was a story at because the Cat Williams thing came out almost a month ago now, and like everyone was talking. And there's stories of, I forget, one comedian was like, oh, so and so stole my joke or whatever. Like my YouTube feed's all loaded with that stuff after watching the Cat Williams thing.
Yeah,
and this comic was like, oh, so and so stole my joke and it sucks and blah blah. And I guess it was a higher up guy and he knew Prince. So he calls up Prince, or Prince randomly called him. He's like, how you doing? And he's like, oh, and he vents to him. He's like, well, what are you and he's like, that guy stole my joke. He's unoriginal, blah, blah, blah. He's like, oh, well, are you that guy? Are you unoriginal? And he's like, no. He goes, all right, write new shit. You'll get new jokes. It's fine. Let him have it, And that's and also, so it's that. So you're 100% right. But it's also like, you're going to do your own joke better than anyone else can replicate it, especially the more personal it is. Like if it's a story, okay, they can tell a story and it's funny, but it's never going to be as funny as you, the person who lived it, who tells it. Or if it's your true viewpoint, no one's going to steal it.
Well, it's a little bit of like, somebody gaming the system, somebody taking advantage. So that's the shitty part of it, is for sure, is like somebody's getting rewarded for not their own work, right? That's the big thing, It's like if something happens like at your work, your office, and it was your idea, but someone else is taking credit for it, or your work. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
I get it for sure. You should still feel shitty, but in the comedy side of it, it's cool. All right, I'll just continue writing new shit.
Right.
Like, you can't just stop me from stealing that bit or that joke. Like, I'm gonna continue coming with it.
Yeah, the real comics, the real people putting their nose down to the grindstone and hammering it out, like, you'll just keep churning up new material.
Yeah, it's unending, man. It really is. You think you're gonna run out of shit, but it just doesn't.
No,
it just doesn't.
Surprisingly.
Yeah,
because you're always like, oh God, I'm gonna have to come up with a new 10 minutes or whatever, but like so one of the earliest pieces of advice I got from so when I started with this production company called 414, and it was a mother-daughter duo, Pat and Christine Grillon. Christine's like a big sister to me. She's great. Pat was her mom. And she gave me a piece of advice where she was like, the more you like do a joke, like, of course you want to do like new jokes and whatnot, but like the more you do those jokes and refine them, your brain always wants something new. So that eventually, like, the new idea is just going to find its way into your head.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can be as scared as you want that you're not going to write something or have new material by such and such date, but like, just go with the flow and you'll find it. And you'll eventually bank that. But I'm the same way as you, where like, if I go to an open mic and I don't have something new that I'm trying out, or like it's, a third version of a joke or whatever edit that I need to try, I'm like, this is kind of a wasted rep. Like, I want to do something new. Like, I'll bank it so when I get booked for more time, okay, great, I have this whole bag of jokes that I can reach in and put the set together. Sorry. Whole set, like, you see the whiteboard, like, I have the whole, like, that's a 40-minute set right there. That's like all my working stuff right now.
Touching kids.
In the flowing order.
What's it say over there?
Which one? We're going to get you to the eye doctor, buddy. That is... no, I mean, there is a lot of stuff about how I don't want kids, so that's... you read that word, right? But yeah, like, so I just have it laid out there, so I know, like, okay, I can pick and choose what I have. That's the whole bag up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because a part of me is also fearful that, okay, I know this is funny.
Yeah.
And if for whatever reason, I'm struggling with this bit over here, and I'm like, well, I'll go over here to Old Faithful, and I'm not, like, I don't set it up right, I don't perform it right, or the crowd was just in and out of the whole bit,
right,
and it doesn't hit, and now I'm just in a deeper hole at that point,
right.
So I'm almost like, that's why I just go up there with, in my head, this is what I'm gonna perform, and time be damned. I don't care if I have a minute left, 45 seconds. I'm done. My set, I came up here to say what I'm going to do.
Right.
I'm done. I'm out of here. And that's also because I'm not at that point where I'm comfortable with doing crowd work and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there is that, but like, there's something cool about a person when they go up and they do their bits and they get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, that's my time. Thanks, guys. Fun. And it's like, oh shit, okay, cool.
Yeah, unless you're contractually obligated to fill that chunk of time.
Yeah.
There's no but yeah, like at an open mic, there's been plenty of times where the last time I was at Mic Drop, and it's 4 minutes. I went through my set, my jokes weren't all hitting, so I think at like the end I got them on a laugh. So I was like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna end on there.
Yeah.
And there was something. It was a guy who like lost his fantasy football league was there, and so since he lost, he had to go up and do stand up at an open mic, and so they set him up at Mic Drop, and he was like 1 or 2 after me or something. So I just took the last minute to be like, hey, everyone hang out, like, I know your friend's gonna go, but like, hang, watch the other comics that are waiting to go up, little stuff like that. But like, I looked at my watch, I'm like, I do have another minute, whatever, I gotta laugh, let's just end it, done. I'm out, I said what I did my jokes, I'm done. Give it up for the next comic and let's keep it moving. There's you're not getting, unless, again, like, you're paid, you're contractually obligated to like fill 30 minutes, whatever the time is. Then you got to do it. But at the level where, most of what we're doing right now.
Yeah, correct. And I did forget to preface that I am referring to it like an open mic.
Yeah.
Versus, show. I mean, you better, you got to come correct. Like, you should be running the light at a show, like a showcase, to make sure that it's filled,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say you don't run the light, and by meaning you go like a minute or a minute and a half, but you should be at that point where you're like, this is right about there. This is right there.
Yeah, you should know it.
I don't know. Cause that's, when doing JP's showcase, like they're like this, it's a competition, right?
Right.
It's to see who's going to do 10 minutes and everybody's like freaking out. They're like, if you go over by like 10, 15 seconds, you're disqualified from the thing. And I'm like, I get it, but that's not what I'm here for. Yeah. I would like to win.
Yeah.
But I'm here to do my comedy.
Yeah.
And so I'm not abusing it. I don't have, I'm not planning to do 8 minutes when I only have 5, but I'm going to go do my set. And if it disqualifies me in any set, I don't care at this point. I'm not here to win that 10 minutes. I'm still trying to, hone in my craft, how I'm performing. And so that's my focus, Yes, it'd be nice to win, of course. But I'm not freaking out. Like they're back there like, I gotta, and now you're in your head. That's why I like to get it out of the way. I like to be one of the first guys up.
Yeah.
And that way I can just sit back and relax.
Just enjoy the show. Yeah. Grab a drink. Like for me, I don't like to have, if we're at, a lot of the times we're at bars and stuff, I'll have a drink after I get off stage. I don't like to drink before I get on stage. Just my own personal thing.
For sure.
So I also like to, of course I love, the opportunities if I'm like closing a show. That's great. But I also like going, first, second, third, whatever. And then I can just sit back and I can be the audience member for the rest of the night and have my little tequila soda or whatever and just watch.
And not be in your head about, oh man, are they going to be into this joke? Are they going to be, should I take this out? Because then you're gauging how they react to everybody else's set.
Yeah.
But if you're in the audience, if you're in the green room, it's whatever.
Yeah.
That is cool where you're just kind of separated from that. So you're not fully, in that, like, how's the audience? No, you're in the green room just shooting the shit. The green room hangs are so fun.
They are. They're some of the best. They are. They're just so well, and it's also just I feel like comedians are just a separate breed of people.
Yeah.
To a bit. So when you just get everyone together, like I love sitting in the green room at JP's. You get like 6 or 7 comics in there just hanging. It's the best.
Just shooting the shit, man.
Yeah, it's the best. Especially like what I will say, what I like too is like a lot of the headliners he gets in, like by and large, they're all like social people. Like no one thinks they're too big for their britches. So, no headliner has ever been like, guys, this is the green room, everyone else out. I need my space. Like no one's ever been that way in my experience.
Yeah.
So like, it's all just, it's just a hang, like everyone's there. And like, I love like Rich Prang. And like, I remember one time he was asking like, and we were like, just going over a bit. And he was like, yeah, I want to do this. And like me, him and Gavin Bloom are just like shooting lines out and like, just workshopping the bit and all. And like Gavin's great for that. Gavin is like an amazing comedy teacher and writer. He's one of my favorite writers in town. So like anytime I can like sit with him and get an audience, I'm like, this is the guy I want to like punch my stuff up.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And like that's just the fun of sitting in a green room like that.
Darn, that's cool. That is good. I don't know. It's just a different muscle too that you get to flex back there.
Yeah. Well, it's also, and it's like comedy is kind of like an individual sport, right? We're up there as solo acts, but also it is kind of like when you're on the lineup, it is a team sport where you're all trying to put the best show out there.
Exactly.
So like, and that's like, I do a lot of hosting there. So I'm like the first guy out. Like Jim, of course, introduces me, he gets a couple laughs out of the audience before he brings the host up. And then I go up and, I do my 5 minutes. And so I can go back and I like that position. Obviously I want to move up, but I like that spot because then I can go in the back and talk to comics like, all right, there's the left side of the room's a little tight. You got to work for them a little more. That couple in the back, like there's one guy with his arms folded. So like, just be aware, just be prepared. Don't take it the wrong way. And then, and you can kind of address like, oh, the big laughs are coming from the back of the room, play to them, or something and let it catch up to the front. Little things good, like man. That. Yeah. Yeah, I like kind of going out there first and feeling out what the room is like and reporting back.
Valuable. Some reconnaissance.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a fun. Hosting's arguably one of the hardest jobs you can do, if not the hardest job.
Yeah.
In any comedy club lineup, because you're the warm up guy. And especially with hosting, the way I was taught is think of it like you're hosting a party. You kind of have to be everybody's friend.
Yeah.
So like if you have the dirtier material, maybe don't use it so much as the host. Maybe later on, maybe at the late show, but you want to make everyone feel welcome.
It's true.
And let your feature and your headliner, if they're going to go dirty or touch on some edgier stuff, let them handle it. But you kind of break the ice. Was it one guy described it to me? The basic structure of like a comedy club of like host, feature, headliner. It's like storming the beaches of Normandy. That the boats pull up. the first boat is your opener or your host. Door drops, that whole boat gets wiped. They eat all the bullets. They're not there to kill. They're not there to murder. They're the cannon fodder, right? They just kind of break the ice. Then the feature, that boat door drops. And then some of those comics get wiped out, but you get some of the guys on the beach. And the crowd's really warmed up and they're with it now. And then the Nazis are reloading by the time the headliner boat shows up, drops, and that whole platoon can get on the beach and take ground and, have a good time and make advancements, right? That's kind of how it was described to me. So like as the host, you're never going to kill. You're not supposed to kill as the host. You're supposed to be good.
Yes.
You're not the murderer. The feature is then who really starts ramping up the laughs, and then the headliner is just hitting it every single time. That's the ideal structure.
That makes total sense, man. That is. So then the show can flow smoothly. You got to foreplay the audience, man.
Right.
When you go in.
Yeah.
Can't go in dry.
No, you got to warm them up. Got to loosen them up. Got to, seduce them with the laughter.
Yeah. Nobody just wants to bite the pillow, dude.
No, especially in a comedy club. You're just going to bite a glass. That hurts. It's not recommended. Man.
So what's on the horizon, man? What are you looking forward to?
Just continuing to move up the ladder, so to speak, right? Like there's a thing, and that, like, for me, I don't want to come off pompous with this, but like I've been doing this. Like I said, I started in '06, and when I definitely restarted out here, I needed the training wheels on. There was rust to it, you know what I mean?
For sure.
So, but now I'm finding the groove. I know I have the material. Crack Ups had me headline in December, and that was a really fun half-hour set. Yeah, it was great. So like I want to start pushing for more of that. And just kind of let everyone know, like, hey, you can book me for 10s and 15s and 20s and 30s, and like I can deliver.
Yeah.
So it's just about spreading that, like, hey, I'm ready to come off the bench.
I'm ready. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's a lot more of that, just kind of exposing that and trying to push the Amazon thing and use that as leverage of like, hey, see, I know what I'm doing. Exactly. I'm ready to go. Book me. Put me in, coach. No, it's a lot of that.
Yeah, I think you're definitely there, man, because I know the first time I saw you, I was like, okay, you got really good delivery setups. Your on-stage presence is really good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, you're definitely, you can tell you were more polished than a lot of the other comics that we're kind of brushing up against right now.
Yeah. Well, but that's again, like if I go back and watch that first time I did it at 16, sure. I'm atrocious.
Yeah.
Like so many guys are better than I was. It's like some of that's life experience and some of that's just, you know, awkwardness and stuff.
Easily. But, no, I feel like I've had a better experience this go around than when I tried it 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, I didn't know you tried. What was that? How did you make the jump from music to comedy?
Let's see. So my dad passed away in 2019 early, and then I was like listening to podcasts all the time. And people were like, oh, I wish, I would listen to Joe's a lot. And I wish he would have like a regular person on, like a plumber or this and that. And I'm like, well, I know people that own their own businesses here. And I was already having like coffee meetups with old friends and whatnot. I was like, hey, it's been a while. Let's meet up for coffee for like an hour before work and just, hey, how are things? How's this? What are some new information that you've taken in? Like, where can I kind of grow? Because I'm in this growth mindset, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, well, I'm already doing that. I work at a music store where I can get this shit for pretty cheap. Okay, if they're asking for something like this, and I'd be interested in that too. Well, I know people doing things. I know, musicians. I know owners, business owners, entrepreneurs, all that. So let's just see what happens.
Yeah.
So I did that, and then after a bit, I was just like, well, I kind of I've always wanted to try comedy.
Yeah,
I did. Okay. As I was into talking like this already, I'm like, all right, well, let me give it a shot, man. So went up and I went to Mic Drop or Improv Mania.
Yes,
is what it was back then.
Yeah, back then, right?
And I talk about that because I had 5 minutes envisioned, and I'm like, okay, here's a story about me having a sexual experience with a cougar.
Okay.
Someone much older than me, right?
Okay, right.
That had this fucking crazy fucking ending.
Okay.
So I'm like, I'm gonna do that. So, okay, work up the courage to like write it and do all this, right?
Yeah.
So I get there and they're like, hey, we have so many comics tonight. Anybody signed up now only gets 3 minutes. So I go, fuck, dude. So now I have a 5 minute bit in my head I got to do in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Fuck, okay. all right, yeah, you can still do it. You can still do it. So I get in there, room is packed. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Well, they just had their comedy class graduation happening.
Oh, okay.
So this one girl goes up, has everybody there, you know, she does really well. And I had just worked up the courage again, talking to myself, be like, you can still do this material. It'll be all right. You know, it's a little raunchy, but you know, you'll be all right. They're going to be for it. Room clears out.
Oh, yeah.
Because she brought everybody. So now I'm just like, what the heck? Now I'm like, there's nobody here to really see this. Like the room, like there's like 4 people left when there was like 30 in there.
Yeah.
And then they talk some of the people back in because Tristan Bolin was barely kind of getting his wheels.
Okay.
Then they're like, you want to see this guy? Like, come back in. We're telling you. So a few people come back in. And then 2 comics go on, and that last guy just kills the energy in the whole room. And then I go up to do my thing, and it's fine. It's online. I posted it.
Okay.
But that was my first time doing it. And then like a month later, me and my ex-wife now, but we separate. So then I'm doing stand-up till like December, like end of the year.
Okay.
And we decide to work on the marriage. So she made necessary changes. So I'm like, okay, I'll quit this because she was like, I know you were talking to girls. So I told her, I was like, you know, I'm talking to, you know, this waitress here, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so she was like, well, I'm like, okay, I understand. You know, let's work on this family thing.
Yeah, of course.
Well, we ended up divorcing, and I kind of just, you know, mulled around for a bit, kind of got my bearings, and then my buddy convinced me to join his band. So then I joined the band, started traveling like crazy, doing all that.
Nice.
We start bumping heads. So I split from the band, felt like a divorce all again because of the equipment and all the relationships and all that. So it felt like that. And then I was like, man, I still need a creative outlet. I was like, man, what if I really just jump into this comedy thing and take it more serious than I did last time? Because I think the last time I did it, I was doing like Devil's Advocate and Improv Mania.
Yeah.
So I was doing two open mics a week and, you know, sporadically, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So then now, you know, I'm doing, you know, 4 to 6 mics a week, which is a different, I mean, once you're just getting stage time. And that's why we're so thirsty for stage time. You know, that's why the whole show over the weekend was just like, I mean, we're just thirsty for a stage and an audience. You got 3 people in the audience, cool. I'll be there.
We'll make the show happen.
Yeah, exactly. And just that alone, just getting on stage in a mic and getting that exercise out, it's really all you need to get going and proper, because everything else is going to come. You're going to pick up the technique. You're going to, as long as you are, you know, open to your own fucking, you know, where you could grow. Yeah. Yeah. You know, and I think that's where we're in common in that sense. That, that we see that and acknowledge it. And it's been fun. It's been really fun. I've gotten much better with this podcasting thing, and just really brushing elbows. I got to get better about really going out to more shows in general, not just the open mics and hanging.
Yeah, the networking.
Right. Yeah. That's the next thing I gotta do. And then have you heard of game show battle rooms?
I have.
Too?
Yeah.
So I need to reach out about maybe, you know, joining that team and see what's available.
Yeah, I've heard that's a good way to build up your crowd work skills.
Yeah.
Because you're just playing off of the people there. You're doing the Steve Harvey job. You're doing Family Feud. Yeah. Which that seems like a really fun job. So why wouldn't you? Yeah. Exactly. I got to look at that and figure out the survival job schedule and possibly jump into there as well. But yeah, no, I think that's awesome, man. Yeah. I think, and you're very comfortable on stage. You have that about you as well. And that goes so far, because we've seen people who go up and like you can tell they're nervous, and I understand it. There's nothing wrong with it. But like to a point where then it starts to hinder, and even like they could be the best writer, but if you can't deliver the joke and you're not comfortable up there, it's not happening. Yeah.
The last time, I don't know if it was the last time I was at JP's for the showcase or the one right before. But afterwards, my Sheila came into the to the green room area, and she goes, Shaw, you did really good. I was like, did my voice sound nervous at all? She's like, no. Because as I'm talking, I could kind of, like, it felt like I was like a little nervous. Because I was nervous, but I was like, because you hear it in my voice. Because I, for whatever reason, it just came over me and I couldn't really kick it. Right. And so, like, That's why I used to drink so heavily in a band. Was
Okay.
for one, you're getting drinks bought for you. You have a band tab.
Yeah.
But also, I was like, I'm not that good of a bassist to be part of this band. You guys are here to see me, like to see us. Like I'm not that, I'm not good. But after a couple shots, you're like, oh yeah,
I got this. Yeah.
Stage. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Like I'm all for it, So I'm used to the stage in that sense. So that has helped me being comfortable just being in front of people.
Yeah.
And know that, I do have some interesting takes and whatnot. And to me, it's just cultivating the funny, because I know when I'm up there, I got eyes, but the laughs got to come with it too.
Right.
So I know that, my presence is good in that sense, but that's where my writing needs to come in and pick up, carry its own weight.
Okay. Well, you're getting laughs. Like, I don't think I've seen you bomb.
No.
Like, you're a comic, so I'm sure you have. We all have.
Yes.
Like I said, the last time I was a mic drop, I was not doing so hot.
Yeah.
I got a good laugh at the end, and then I was like, hey, stick around, everybody's great, and then jumped off the stage. So, like, we all have those nights. But yeah, no, like, I think you're very, like, for being, again, like, you did it, a couple times in 2019, and then that was it.
Yeah.
And now you're back into it for gotta be close to a year, right?
It'll be a year in April.
Okay, so we're getting there.
Yeah, we're getting there, man.
Yeah,
We're getting
no, you're doing great so far, man.
there. Hey, thanks, dude.
Really.
Don't tell me that. I'm going to slow down. No, tell me I'm doing horrible. After I told you a whole story earlier, I need positive reinforcement. Oh, you think that's good?
Yeah.
Check this out.
You're doing, like, and that's what I really love about what you're doing is, like, it shows that, like, kind of like what you're saying, where you're like, oh, okay, let me work on this aspect. Let me do this. Let me do that. Like, there's a group of us, and there's more people than the people I'm about to name, but like you, me, Anna, Justice, Cameron at JP's, and like Ian Estrada and Ray Reyes when he comes back, right? He's doing his own thing now. Like, we all take it, we break it down. We're like, all right, what did we do good? What did we not do so good? What needs the improvement? And then every time we come back and the bit's a little different, we say it differently. We're making those improvements, and that's builds up over time. And that's how you get somewhere.
Yeah, just being comfortable up there. That's why people view the art form as, oh, that I could do that. I can do that. I tell funny stories at the party. I do all this. And it's a different scenario.
Yeah,
in a sense. And there's tons of funny people I try to convince, to do the stand up thing, but it's just they're just like, I don't. An audience and a stage, nah, I'm cool.
Yeah, some people.
But I'm like, dude, you hold. We'll be at a house party and you got the whole room captivated with this. He's like,
Yeah. Some people are just cool with like the impromptu thing, because it is a different thing. Like, now it's one thing to hold court when you're hanging out with your buddies.
Yeah.
And then it is a different thing of like, okay, I'm going to stand on stage and all of you have to listen to me for the next 5 minutes or whatever it is. And the lights are on you and everyone's just looking at you. Like, all the tables are pointed in it's such a different dynamic. And yeah, some people just don't. Yeah, because I used to convince people all the time, like, you should do stand-up. You're always so funny. And they're like, nah, I'm good. That's fine. Like, some people are fine being the funniest guy at the office, and that's great. We need that, too.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. And just some people, they're not wired for it, which is weird.
That's true.
Yeah, I can't be normal. That's the thing. Like, I have to. I tried being normal. I'm like, this isn't working for me. I have to be on stage and yell at strangers.
I know. I think about, like, corporate and office jobs, and just like...
I
can't, man.
It's frightening.
Yeah, I can't. So we got to make something happen here.
Yeah, we'll get there. Like I said, I think everything's on an upswing now. A couple years removed from the pandemic, and I think the economy is getting better. I don't know. It depends on what channel you watch, right?
Of course.
But I think things are moving in a direction where like the comedy clubs are getting more full, more consistently. People are out looking for a good time.
Is this an election year?
This is an election year.
My
Unfortunately,
God,
I know
dude.
It's going to get so bad. I feel like everyone just stopped doing political humor, and I got really happy about it. And now it's only going to ramp up again. I don't even care which side you are, but like after a while, political humor, it just gets
wears.
Yeah, it's even. Did you go to? Did you check out Big Pine this year, the comedy festival over the summer?
I wasn't able to go to it, but I went to one of the seminars.
Yes, yeah. I think I went to both of those. I think, yeah. I popped in late to one of them. I know.
And then we went to eat across the street.
Yes. Yeah, we were there. That's right. So I think it was that one. They had the guy who I think books the comics for the Tonight Show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think, it was that. I couldn't remember if it was that first or second day.
Yes.
And he flat out said, he's like, yeah, we don't bring on political comics.
No COVID.
No COVID, no like we're done with it. Just move on from it, And like, I think that's a good way to look at it. Not even from the scope of like, oh, you might alienate an audience. Of course, like, especially at the TV executive level, they think about that.
Yeah.
But it's also, if everyone's talking about it,
Saturated.
Yeah, and there's like, and we all see the same news cycle clips, so everyone's talking about the same thing. Like, oh, Biden pushed the poll door. I know that was a George Bush thing, right? But like that kind of example, or Trump said this today, and it's like, all right, everyone knows that one. Like,
someone needs to come in. Yeah, I think because it does allow somebody to come up with a good angle, right? But most of them are going to be fucking just whatever. Like most people's angles on like Epstein Island. Okay, cool.
Right.
Yeah, you see it.
Yeah, that was the big one.
What's his name's got a good one though? Garrick Fees.
Oh, I haven't seen his. I like him. I haven't seen his bit on that.
It's pretty new. I don't even know if I should talk about it.
Yeah, don't give it away. Don't give it away. But if there's a clip, I mean, send it my way. But
yeah, he has a really good angle on it that, you wouldn't, I wouldn't have come up with that.
Right.
You thinking about it. Like, I didn't even want to touch Epstein's Island. I'm just like, yeah. I'm kind of over here still.
Yeah.
But he had a good angle on it that I'm just like, okay, see, there you go. There's opportunity there, even though everybody is talking about it.
Yeah.
And I mean, what's it? Seth Balance has a really good line on it too about, I think, is Bill Clinton going to go to heaven or something like that?
Oh, okay.
And he has a really good.
He's another
line.
good writer.
Yeah.
He's so
he
fun
really
to
is.
watch.
Yeah, he is fun. He is fun.
Yeah.
There's tons of talent here, man.
There really
tons
is.
of talent here. It's a leapfrog or leap pad. What do you guys say? Leapfrog city, state. Like people just kind of like a leap pad to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think it's becoming something more.
Yeah.
I think with how many times we've held the Super Bowl here, and that downtown Phoenix has actually come back to life.
Yeah.
Because it was really bad, and after the recession. This is it's a hub, man. People come to Old Town from out of state all the time.
That's like the Western U.S. like bachelorette party capital.
Yeah,
you go.
Exactly.
We had a friend in town, some of my friends from the aquarium and all, and we went out to dinner in Old Town. And just sitting down at dinner, like 2 bachelorette parties came in and out for dinner.
Yeah,
random. It was a Saturday night, so it's a hot night to go out, of course. But like you always see that, or like on Instagram, you'll always see Old Town. It's like, it's so-and-so's bachelorette or somebody's 21st or 30th. Like, it's a party hotspot.
Our band was playing Casbar, a wine and whiskey bar down there, and that's we played it, like once a month, and you would always see bachelorette parties coming through. And I sat with a couple of them. I was like, are any of you guys from Arizona? They're like, no, we're here. I was like, why? Like, this is a bachelorette destination.
Yeah. Well, that's even. Are you a wrestling fan by chance? Do you watch?
Like WWE or?
Yeah, just in general, really. I don't know how.
Or they meant like collegiate.
Oh no. No, like pro wrestling.
No, I don't follow it.
There's a female wrestler from New Jersey, so I'm a fan of hers, who goes by Sonya Deville. She lives out in Florida, I think. I don't know, but like she just had her. Well, that's where their developmental is. So like all of them are in Florida, but she's also like on her Instagram, she like flips houses now. So who knows where she actually lives, right?
Gotcha.
But she lives in Florida near Miami, like she can drive to Miami. She still flew to Scottsdale for the bachelorette party. Like it's or like Nashville is closer. That's like the main hub on the East Coast for bachelorette parties is Nashville. But Scottsdale is still just a perfect. There was a gig I did, what was it, a year and a half ago, maybe? And it was a bachelorette party, and a friend of a friend reached out and was like, hey, we want to, go do like a comedy show. So they were asking, and I was going to like be like, oh, all right, well, here are the clubs in the area you're staying, and, pick a show. I'm sure they'll do a group rate. And they're like, well, it's like, that's the day we're coming in. We don't necessarily want to go out. Like, we're having a private chef come in and doing all this. So we were hoping like a comedian could show up to the house and perform in the house. And I'm like, it's a different story. Okay. And like, I didn't really like know how much material I had. I was like, I could probably do like 20 minutes. I could feel comfortable. Like, are you guys cool? And they're like, well, we were hoping an hour. So I brought like a couple comics with me. And it was like a comedy house call. You know what I mean? And we just did the show in the living room. One of the it was Ty Levette brought the sound system. I don't know if you met Ty. She's like popped in and out. She's a very funny like guitar comic. She writes very funny songs. And then someone we haven't seen in a while, Ray Bradshaw, did the show with me. She's very funny. She's very clever. Again, a really good writer.
Yeah.
And we just did like this really fun show. But again, it's a bachelorette party came in. So like the private chef was leaving. And then we show up and plug in the sound system and all right, we're doing a show for an hour, you know?
Yeah.
But like it's constant, and like there's all the Airbnbs or just mansions. Like we just pulled up and it's like a neighborhood that none of us belong. Well, I certainly don't belong in. Like I'm looking, I'm like, these are just mansions, just rented out for Airbnb. Like it's the perfect party destination spot. So yeah, so Phoenix, Scottsdale, the whole thing's on the way up.
Yeah.
You know, and there's so much talent. There's have you met Mike Dapper?
Yes.
Yeah. He was on Stefan Satani's podcast, which is a really good podcast. And Mike Dapper said it really well. And he's like, you know, we should all be supporting each other in the scene.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, there's going to be like some friendly competition or there's only so many spots, but like we should all be building each other up, because if someone breaks from the comedy scene, like bookers and Hollywood or whoever, gatekeepers, right? They're not going to go, oh man, we found that really great talented person in Phoenix. Or he compared it to fishing. He's like, oh, we caught that big, you know, trophy bass, right? I'm never going to fish in that lake again. No, if you find someone who's the next breakout comedy star in Phoenix, more eyes are going to come to Phoenix.
Yeah,
and that's good for everybody.
Yeah.
So we should all be lifting each other up, you know? And like you go on Facebook and there's, you know, people are beefing all the time in the local scene. It's like, can we stop?
Egos.
Can we stop? I get like if you have a problem, like work it out there. Stop. Like let's all be a collective unit to like all lift each other up, right? Like what is it? You know, when the high tide comes in, all the boat rises.
Yeah.
All the boats rise together.
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing.
Look at you, man, bringing the community together.
I do. This is my moment of zen. This is where I bring it back and I'm calm. But then later on, I'm going to jump in the car to go to a show and it's going to be like, what the fuck? Yeah. Then I'm going to rage out.
Yeah. Well, it's your prerogative, and
Fair. Thank you.
You're allowed to do that, man.
Thank you. Yeah. Free country. Yeah.
Oh man, dude. Thanks for coming on, brother.
Dude, thank you. You came up to me in North Bumblefuck Phoenix, so I appreciate it. You know, like I said, next time I'll come to you or we'll find a middle spot or something. But yeah.
Yeah.
No, this is great, man.
Yeah, we'll do it again, man. Running back.
Yeah.
The next time you got a special.
Next time? All right. Yeah. Next time I get a special, we'll do it. Okay.
So that means you just got to get one ASAP.
I'll work on it. Another podcast, you know, because I'm trying to just whore myself out and promote the hell out of this. So thank you again.
Yeah.
There was one I recorded a few days ago, and he was like, "What are your goals? Like, you're gonna do like an hour special?" And I'm like, "Oh, maybe like a year and a half. I'll feel maybe ready by then with like all that plus."
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. It's one of those things. Like what I like about the whole Zen comedy thing is, like Zach asked me and these other comics to do it.
Yeah.
And I respect everyone who's like, I'm going to make my own special. I'm going to put it up on YouTube. I'm going to put it out there.
Yeah.
That's great. And I think everyone who feels ready for it should do it. To me, there's that extra bit of validation of someone saying, hey, I'm doing this. I want you to come do it.
Yeah.
There's that extra bit. So like, I'm not saying I'm sitting and waiting for Netflix or Amazon to call me and be like, we want to give you an hour. But like, there's a little more of like, I would like that validation of someone being like, you should have a special, like a little bit. Cause everyone right now is putting it out there and I don't want it to get lost in the shuffle. So that's why getting asked to do it being brought onto Amazon, I'm like, oh, that's nice. That's a nice little stamp of approval.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. I'm in the right direction. I'm doing good. I'm being recognized. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause I respect Zach. I don't know. I don't think you've met Zach because he's in New York. He comes back every so often. He's a good dude to know. He's a very supportive guy, very funny guy. Definitely has his own unique comedy style. And I love watching him go up. Like whenever you get around to watching the special, everybody like Zach, the way he tells stories is just so fun.
Dope. I'm looking forward to it, man. Make it a good thing. You think I should take it in sober or should I be under any influence?
That's a good question. I would say however you prefer. Whatever your favorite method of taking it in. But yeah, I mean, it's a nice mix. I don't know. I'm trying to see because it starts off with a bang and very like mid-Atlantic and high energy with Carrie.
Yeah.
You know, and then who is it? I think Zach goes next, and Zach's a little more zen. Still has his moments where he beefs up and he's got a lot of range, which is great. Then Lola comes in the middle and really like kicks the drive up a bit. Then you have Lou, and then you have me. So it's like a nice ebb and it's very fun. Good. Like everyone consistently funny, but like energy level kind of like I'm consistently high energy. Carrie's consistently high energy. I think Lola is pretty high energy the whole time. And then Zach and Lou kind of ride the wave.
Yeah.
So it's a fun balance. I love the way he put everything together.
Oh, that's good. That's some experience there.
Yeah. So I don't know. So to answer your question about like, should you do it under the influence of anything? Maybe. Like
I forgot I asked that question.
2 and 4. Yeah, I'll bring it back. I know. I meant to go back to like, how do you feel like musicians express and find themselves? And that was like an hour and a half ago. We never even touched back on it.
No, we will, man.
Yeah,
we will. What time is it?
Yeah, I know you
Yeah,
gotta.
I gotta grab
get
the
going.
kids here soon, man.
Okay,
dude. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
Let these fine folks know what your usernames and handles and dark web
socials. Ooh, the dark web, the OnlyFans. Okay, so OnlyFans were all my feet pictures. No, God, I wish I had the guts to corner that market. No, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, at Patrick Bean Comedy, and then you can go on Amazon Prime for Zen Comedy.
Beautiful, guys. Check him out. Follow him. You're going to do great things, brother.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you. We'll do it again.
Yes, I can't wait.
Bye.
Bye, buddy.